Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is finals weekend at the Umzansi Esports League. This is season 4, brought to you, of course, none other than Not Ring Gaming. My name is Dr. Sid here with Era OG and my good friend Snegodemos. And we are here to give you all the action that is the FIFA 21 tournament, 22 tournament. But before I talk too much, let's just take a very quick look at the schedule for today so that you know what's happening.
And of course, here we do have it. The TheBeastBianchi taking on Deevak today. It's going to be a thriller, a crazy matchup that we have coming in between the two gentlemen. Of course, it's semi-final number 2, so the road to the finals themselves keeps continuing here. Deevak hasn't necessarily been able to find himself in that pole position before, and the TheBeastBianchi has come so close so many times, but keeps getting hamstrung, keeps running into roadblocks at the very beginning of the semi-finals. Today, possibly might finally be his time to turn his fate around, make everything different. But, you know, the conversation is all about whether or not Deevak will let that happen, whether or not Deevak is going to be the person to allow that to happen, who is going to be the one to keep going to compete for this $2,500 prize pool for the FIFA 22 segment. It's kind of amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing, you know, like when I think about the journey that we've come through to get to this point, the amount of teams that have played, what the players have gone through, it is such an amazing journey. And what we're looking at for this amazing season 4 prize pool, as you can see as well, $15,000 going to the PUBG mobile segment, but this $2,500 prize pool is such a big deal for these players. Now, just to explain how the prize pool is going to be distributed, the 4th place gets $250, 3rd place gets $250 as well, 2nd place gets $500, and the 1st place gets $1,200. As we can see already, Masoom has been confirmed in 4th place. Today we're going to be finding out who's going to be in place and 3rd place, and of course who's making it through to the finals to compete. So ladies and gentlemen, it is a packed weekend of gaming at the Northern Gaming Africa Umzansi Esports. Guy, I'm just confused because everywhere is just happening. It's hot. The matches are going to begin. I'm going to ask you, you know, today, Errol, what are we expecting from this matchup?
Oh, we're expecting some heat, man. We got TheBeastBianchi out from Goliath, Deevak from Bravado, 2 Titans clashing tonight. I can tell you it is going to be storms coming through from the matches that we have from these two guys. TheBeastBianchi, however, in my books, is going to be the winner of this. I'm not sure what the prediction may potentially be, but I feel like, you know, his past performances is going to top Deevak in the finals over here. But you know, Deevak could be hungry. Deevak could be showing that potential to really go through to the next round, the grand finals. But it would be so much more better to see the Bobo Beast as well as the Beast of Bianchi to come together for that grand final. And I'm just looking forward to seeing exactly what the semifinals 2 is all about.
So a beastly final up in the air, but Deevak might just have something to say about that. Yesterday we saw Bobo Beast taking on Masoom in winning on penalties 11-10. Today we're hoping for an exciting match, as equally exciting match as we did yesterday. Quickly, if we look at the standings of how the teams ended up in this particular point, we see that in the past, right, Deevak had a very shaky start, but then found a way to make it into the top 4. You know, last season we saw Deevak, you know, he didn't really do so well, but this year he's sort of proven himself. Do you think that he has what it takes to take on the Beast?
Ooh, the historical matchup between these two has been favoring the TheBeastBianchi time and time again. So when we're coming into this particular situation, Deevak has a lot of work to do, and he's had a lot to think about in terms of what this matchup might be. In the season, like you mentioned, he certainly showed that he's one of the players that was on the up. The very latter end of the 4th season of the Umzansi Esports League looked very good for Deevak. So if he can keep that momentum going, then he does stand a chance against the TheBeastBianchi. But the Beast this season was also just out of this world with his performances. Truly incredible. And in fact, if not for Bobo Beast, who's currently sitting in the grand finals right now, the TheBeastBianchi would have gone completely undefeated as well in this season. So Deevak has to have that in mind, has to thinking about just how difficult this matchup is going to be, and the fact that one of the only loss I believe that he copped in this particular season of the Umzansi Esports League came against the TheBeastBianchi. So not going to be a very happy situation for him going into it, but sometimes you have to use those experiences as a way to be able to come back, figure out the matchup, take the TheBeastBianchi to an exciting game. I still do slightly favor the TheBeastBianchi. I think he has an easier time to make this happen. However, Deevak certainly no slouch and is someone who's shown that he can use knowledge and experience to become a better player.
So I mean, we all know that the beast is the beast, and he feeds on players time and time again. But I'm always thinking to myself, do we love an upset and we love an underdog story? Wouldn't it be amazing to see Deevak come up with something from some magical hat and just take this one?
I mean, if you guys do follow South African FIFA history, you will know that Julio scored a 120-minute goal in his quals for the FSG last time around. But what would be amazing is imagine if Deevak sort of did a situation play onto Julio in the games tonight. I mean, it would be an interesting story, going forward. It's Bobo Beast, it's going to be two underrated players, two underdogs in the finals, and it's not going to be a one-sided story. But at the same time, like Snare mentioned, Bobo Beast did get the one up on Julio. So it's not going to be an easy matchup if Julio even goes forward. So yeah, Deevak winning this one, it could be good. It could be good for everyone. Two underdogs coming together, challenging one another for that grand finals first place position. And I would love to see that, but at the same time, we got to be realistic. Dr. Sid, we have to be. And I love though the realism. This doesn't work out, and Deevak just pulls through with the win. It would be spectacular.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, everyone watching at home, please make sure you get active with your fingers and comments. If you're watching on our online platforms, make sure you're commenting right now. I want to hear your predictions, guys, very quickly. Snare, what's your prediction for this match?
I'm gonna go TheBeastBianchi 3-2. Let's go.
Aero?
TheBeastBianchi 4-1.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take it away, guys. I'll see you after the games.
Thank you, Dr. Sid. And we're into this one, Aero, without any piece of hesitation already. We're seeing them get things going. We're seeing them look for this attack, look for a way to get this W. And it's a very important matchup. And of course, the first goal can really change anything. And the first goal is going to come very quickly out of nowhere. The TheBeastBianchi. Okay. Ginola yet again for this man, showing how much in the key situation.
Yeah, that has to be a kickoff goal if I'm not mistaken. Or was it a kickoff goal, but too early to say, coming out from the two players that we have on our hands. Deevak is already pressured. I mean, we're 4 minutes in here, Snare, and he's already gotten conceded against, and this is now going to upset things around, and a high goal scoring probably matchup that we have on our hands first game.
A lot of work to be done here by Deevak. How can you recover from this situation? He's playing the ball up and down right now. Okay, these are some very nice passes that he's stringing together, but sadly for him, TheBeastBianchi there immediately with the defense, the center back being dragged out of position, and now we've seen how quickly he is able to get out on the ball, and especially when he's on form. And look at that ball! Corona finds it. He tries to head it to Ginola. Cannot get it into the back of the net, but the statement of intent there, Aero, was incredible from the Beast.
Yeah, honestly, fast-paced gameplay on the wing, going in to try get in the cross. Unfortunately, is going to be blocked off. Now back onto Deevak's position, and let's see exactly how he can play this. Mbappe on the wing, back to Fofana. Fofana all the way to the defense, and you can just see how much pressure is being played out. All crossing lanes are being cut out already yet. Yeah, and you can see Ginola taking that ball out for a throw-in, still in ball possession here for Deevak, however, and the pressure is definitely seen among the players from, TheBeastBianchi. This is definitely an interesting matchup.
Absolutely. Right now, though, Deevak is on the ball, trying to make something happen for himself. And he does, manage getting the back of the net with Neymar! Wonderful turn in the middle of the box. Beautiful play into him. And he found the position, he found a way forward, he found a goal, and it's all tied up. It's 1-1. Anybody's game to play right now. Deevak making sure that he's not going to get rolled over completely here by the TheBeastBianchi. Going to make this a competitive matchup here,
It is indeed. I said this is going to be a high-scoring matchup, and it already is showing up to par. Double man marking coming out from Deevak over there, trying to put on the pressure onto Julio, but Julio still very much calm and collected. But I say that, and he now loses the ball, and a quick counter could potentially come into play, but passes down to Fofana, onto Messi. Messi with the ball, back to Fofana. And playing around the mid area is just a passing game as it stands here for Deevak, but a through ball onto Mbappe could have worked so well for him over there.
Doesn't manage to find it though, sadly. Does trigger the explosive sprint though, trying to get forward again with Neymar. Good defense though from the BeastBianchi to make sure to force him back, not allowing him to maintain that very forward placing pressure. Although he's still on possession. Mbappe recycles it back to Ginola. Getting completely crowded out. There's defenders everywhere, but he finds the dribbles and he gets through. Ginola's in, but unfortunately for him, Marquinhos is stronger on the ball and he makes sure that the ball gets taken away. BeastBianchi still has a chance.
Yes, he does. Beast. So many players running forward, but unfortunately a forced through ball is going to be blocked off all the way down to Hernandez. And this is really where things are starting to tie down. I mean, we're 25 minutes into the match, only 1-1. And we are playing in and around, you know, the half line. So it's all coming down to who can get the next breakthrough, who can break this one and give maybe potentially a ladies first here for Julio Bianchi, because, you know, he managed to score the first goal. And could we potentially see Deevak winning the first match? Interesting to see.
On whether or not he's able to do something with this attack though, and it's been very encouraging to see how much further forward he's finding himself in these advanced areas, but sadly, you know, he just needs a little bit more cleanliness to get through the last man. Now though, chances on for the Beast, but what an interception from Deevak. Awake and on the ball right there, reading the passing lanes quite well, and now he's trying to open space, but Fofana sadly gets dispossessed on the ball, and that came in clutch because it did really seem like he was making space to go for a very forward run with Mbappe there. So good tackle from the BeastBianchi, but however, might not be feeling happy about the fact that he still is struggling to truly get into this box. He's finally back in the final third though, and now Ginola trying to get the turn, and he finds it with the goal. Out of nowhere, BeastBianchi bursts to life, comes through, gets the goal, and he's now back in the lead.
Oh no, and that pressure is just there, man. The gameplay is just so electrifying as we do see BeastBianchi with another goal. This is just so unpredictable. We don't know what the next move could potentially be, but to set things down, to secure it for Beast would be another successful goal coming out from him. He needs to try defend the Burbs. He needs to try hold on onto Deevak over here. Let's see exactly what this kickoff means for Deevak. Aggressive play being blocked off, and now onto Atal. Seeing Mbappe onto the ball, now onto Corona, who has been an exceptional player for FIFA 22.
Without a doubt, one of the better ones. And we see now the BeastBianchi using that skill, trying to advance his team forward. Deevak though, still decently there with the defense, able to track back. Still playing this one out slowly but surely. Marquinhos, I think right now the decision has to be to try and play this out from the back and try and wait for the opportunities to get exploited. Starting the deep run with Theo Hernandez, but doesn't allow it to be an overlapping run with Mbappe. Sadly, he underlaps instead, and the ball gets dispossessed. So now the chance might be on for the BeastBianchi if he can find a numerical overload here, Eero. And he might have just done it, but oof, what a ball.
The defense line is playing so high for Beast, and that could potentially bring in a easy counter attack, which we potentially see now. Messi running on the wing, however, he's able to hold these grounds, able to defend that. Diego Carlos trying to make a run, but that is going to be the first half out from these two players. Just look at those stats, very, very close for these guys. I mean, Deevak has had the ball possession, you know, going into the first half, but it's only been 3 shots across the entire two teams right now, and that has been very, very challenging for these guys. Very consistent, and from Julio, you know, he's managed to get 100% shot success rate at this point. 2 shots, 2 goals. He's really going all in for it right here, and I could say the same for Deevak. One shot, 1 goal. So it's definitely heated up. These guys going in for those guaranteed goals, not taking any chances outside the box, whatever the case may be, going straight in for it.
And on that kind of game with decisiveness from both players. We'll need more of that as we get into the second half here. First leg can still go in any direction. Only one goal separates the two right now. That goal is in favor of the TheBeastBianchi. Can he maintain it though? He needs to be able to defend against this attack. Mbappe running in for Deevak, but he gives away the ball a little bit cheaply there. Now Atal might be able to string together a couple of passes to begin this counter-attack. Look at the space for Corona. Gets onto the ball from Mbappe. Holds it up. Will he be able to get into this? Finding a way through. Oh, pass back, but Deevak with the positioning with Goroba. Make sure that there's not going to be a goal. But man, that came so close. The TheBeastBianchi, it felt like he just had completely read the positioning of every single player on the pitch that Deevak had to offer right there.
Literally, he had such a good opening, but unfortunately the skills were just not there for him. Double man marking, moving out of position as well. Now you see Janola trying to aggressively go through into the box. Unfortunately, that is going to be cut out, and we are onto Deevak's ball position. Let's see what he could do. Messi potentially trying to open up Neymar now, but so many players out, and it does look like he is outnumbered in terms of the attack to defender ratio over there. For Fofana, however, pushing up, and now Mbappe could go on the wing, but unfortunately Atal, who's been great this game, has managed to keep things down, and now going all the way back to the left back. Let's see what can happen right here.
Let's pass out though to play things with the TheBeastBianchi. Can he get around with Neymar? Doesn't seem like it's going to be the case, so we'll be forced to play this one back. They have such similar teams, these two players right here. Neymar gets the ball to Fofana. Gonna start playing this a lot more slowly, it seems like the TheBeastBianchi. He's having a little bit of difficulty with his passing, always receiving to the right man, and unfortunately, every time he gets the ball to this exact area, it gets closed down so quickly. But the ball has been slowly but surely, the line overall rather, has been moving closer towards where Deevak's side of the pitch is. So he needs this goal. He needs this to somehow become magical for him as Messi on the edge of the wing here, looking for this run through. But Lodi says, nope, that's not happening today, my friend. And the TheBeastBianchi seems like he's improving on his defense as well here, bro.
He is indeed. I mean, like you mentioned, the line or the play of area has been in the half of Deevak, and when Deevak is on the attack, he's always losing the balls on the wings, and it's back into the same positions, which we find Bianchi currently right now with an extra man on the wing. Atal, however, losing that. Mbappe had an opportunity to just try and make some sort of play with the defender out of position. However, still so many players in here for Deevak, and that would have been a successful ball roll if it worked out for him, because the player was on the run there, and that was really going to be an explosive attack, which we could have seen. However, still on the ball, still playing out in this one, good dribbling. Neymar trying to find himself in there. Unfortunately, he's just going to lose the ball and playing it quite risky, taking a pass with so many attackers up front over here. Deevak, so much pressure in and around, and you can see the white players just running around, and that was very risky from Deevak.
Absolutely. Sometimes you have to take risks in order to be able to succeed, but you know, some risks need to have it. At the very least, there needs to be a reward category to it. He sadly, at least for the TheBeastBianchi, doesn't find himself getting punished, but he's still one goal down. Needs a way to get back in. He's though might not allow him to play on the ball. He's on this possession, but good interception. Not that much time left in this half, in this game overall. Only 15 minutes of regular time. Will he be able to get something off of this? Deevak, the ball to Janola. Fofana is a bit injured, so he might take advantage of that lack of pace, but fortunately for him, like the TheBeastBianchi has been, at this point in time, utilizing Atal like he's a wing back or something like that, and keeping the ball out on that side of the pitch consistently, but Deevak still wants another bite at the cherry, still wants another chance, but it's not gonna happen.
It isn't. Neymar, however, still has such an open area for himself. Passes back to Fofana. Fofana just playing, and at this point it comes down to just ball control, holding it on to the very last 10 minutes we have in the official game number 1. But Neymar cutting in, he's in the box, he has the ball onto Janola. Janola, however, is going to lose that, and Deevak can come through with a counter, but no, he unfortunately is not controlling the ball successfully. Still on ball possession, however, onto Sanchez.
Oh, Renato Sanchez though, gonna try and make this happen for Deevak. Oh, he finds the pass to Mbappe, but Mbappe Can't get the turn necessary before he gets dispossessed. So are now going to be playing out from the back. TheBeastBianchi, 5 minutes of normal time left. Can he maintain this lead? So far, it's looking very, very positive for him. Don't think we'll be having any surprises here. Looks for the fast searching ball. Doesn't get it onto the target man of Mbappe, but he's still in possession here. Let's see what happens. Deevak can't really take the risk of drawing out too many players off position in case there's a surprise, but the surprise might come now. Corona in the box, gets the shot. But the goalkeeper, good for the money. Allison dragged out from the post. He makes sure to keep the ball outside of the goal. It's still only a 1-goal deficit.
The last potential remaining attack at hand over here, but Deevak goes in for the through ball in the sky. Unfortunately, that is not going to work out for them. You know, you mentioned maybe no surprises, but this is Julio that we're talking about. He has full of surprises in his back pocket. He knows how to utilize a last-minute clutches. Will he be able to do so this time around? Doesn't look like that's the case as Deevak takes the ball out for the final whistle over here. 2-1 for game number 1, and as it is, it's very tight. Any of these players could be potentially winning the next round. I mean, the next match that we have on our hands, and it's like been interesting. What's your general opinion, however, on the gameplay between these two guys?
It really has felt like, you mentioned it before, how they've been going in only for a certain guaranteed type of players, right? We haven't seen that many shots. We haven't seen even that many chances created because both of them are very, very nervous. They know what's at stake. They know that you don't want to be in a situation where you regret having taken a million shots instead of the one perfect one. And it does feel like there's a lot of tension in the game as well, where despite the fact that TheBeastBianchi is ahead by 1 goal, he's not playing with the same. Sometimes when you feel the Beast is winning, he gets a bit carefree. Not carefree in the play, but he's always bounding forward. He's always rushing. Feels very anxious to make something happen, but he's been a lot more composed and a lot slower about how he's approaching some of the passes because he knows that this is the one mountain in the African FIFA 22 scene that he hasn't yet been able to ascend here in the Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming. So to get there, to make that opportunity happen, you have to play as carefully as possible, as considered as possible. And we're seeing it from him, but Deevak is also making the game very, very challenging. And I think if Deevak was maybe 5 to 10% more clinical, we could easily be looking at a drawn situation right now instead of the 1-goal lead for the Beast.
In that first half of match 1, we potentially saw, you know, TheBeastBianchi using his defenders very up. That could have so much easy through balls, but you know, Deevak didn't take the opportunities for that match over there. And second half, it was a different strategy played out from TheBeastBianchi. A lot more possession and players sitting back, and he needed that because there was potential attacks that was played out from Deevak, and just like we are seeing right now onto Messi trying to get a ball in, still on ball possession with a block cross that could have gone in, and 2 players on him. He is done. Now cuts into a through in for Beast over there. And yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting second match on our hands. You know, Deevak with the 1 loss deficit, game number 1, he needs to now bring it back here in the best of second match right now. Let's see exactly what happens though, as TheBeastBianchi is on the ball.
Inside the box right now, at least on the edge of it. Ginola able to hold this out quite well. Nice passing game between himself and Uribe. Back inside right now, Ginola looks for the shot. It gets blocked. And the keeper was going the wrong way. That would have gone into the back of the net. Very surprising that he got the block in that quickly from Deevak. And him being able to make that happen still buys him time. Still have an opportunity for him to be able to come back here. And Deevak now is on this run here, Ero, with Messi, who's got a few men going forward. Unfortunately, the run is covered from Mbappe, and the double man mark comes in from the TheBeastBianchi to prevent any further momentum from Deevak.
What a successful tackle, and now things are turning around. But just look how many defenders, even midfielders, joining in defending, you know, this 1-0 lead that Bianchi has put himself into. But could he widen the lead with the potential cross or even pass into the box? However, it is going to go into a corner right now. And we'll keep you taking it. We know we don't usually see those corners being played. It's just down to the nearest pass player, which we're seeing right now coming into effect. Dribbling into the box and to the edge of the box, and it goes in. What a goal, and it's confirmed. It is an offside. Diego Carlos with the header, He gets that one in, and it is now 3-1 in aggregate score, 1-0 in the second match right now. TheBeastBianchi with a successful cross to the edge of the box. Amazing, amazing.
What a player. What an amazing way to be able to get that one going. And the goal itself, pure class, absolutely coming in right there from the TheBeastBianchi. And now he's in a position, he's in a situation where all he needs to do is keep this 2-game lead very, very level. Don't make any more mistakes. And before you know it, you're going to find yourself in a winning position. Oh my goodness, the TheBeastBianchi. How did he... Honestly, I'm bugging a little bit. That goal was something else. Honestly, that was very impressive. That was very impressive.
The ball, the way it lifted off the ground, the way it just hovered over everyone straight onto Diego Carlos was so amazing to see. I mean, that has been the recent cross plays that I've been seeing myself in the foot games and so forth. So Julio keeping up to par, but that one was also so close in terms of play. But very risky from the goalkeeper, but still onto the player. He does lose it. Messi making a mistake, and now things are starting to fumble here for Deevak as he's losing the opportunities at hand. And unfortunately, catching himself offside. Not really clinical coming out from Deevak.
Not clinical at all. The kind of positional play that he needs to be able to find in order for this game to go well hasn't necessarily been happening just yet. But now Mbappe in for the TheBeastBianchi yet again. Deevak forced to do another risky tackle, and the ball is still in a very dangerous area. He needs to clear these lines as soon as possible, but the TheBeastBianchi reads it very, very well. He's still on the possession. Renato Sanchez with a very desperate tackle. He almost got spun around the arrow, and if he'd gotten past, it would have been a wrap at that point for our main man Deevak, but he's still trying. It's a very beautiful floating cross over to Neymar. It's in the box, but no more progression. He gets shut down.
As Atal keeping the ball possession for him, as Neymar was aggressively running line to line. Atal could go on the run, but no, it's down to Janola. Janola still on ball possession right here, and you are seeing a dangerous attack for Make right now. Neymar in the box, dribbling, making the plays go for him. He's trying to get a pass in, but no, it is continuously blocked off. Fofana on the ball possession, back to Lodi, where he can't get onto Janola. Janola wide open for the shot, and it goes in! Top corner! He gets it, and now it is 4-1 in aggregate score. Just look at that beauty. Wide open for Janola over here, Snare.
That's the second time that we've seen right now that the TheBeastBianchi with Janola gets it into the top corner in emphatic fashion. What a ball, what a pass. The way it came to him before the goal itself actually happened, the TheBeastBianchi, almost like he was predicting exactly where all the defenders were going to be. He waits for the opportunity. You know, you can see Deevak thinking to himself, is a pass going to come? Where's he going with this ball? But he just senses himself, lashes out the shot. My goodness, what a goal here. Whew, that was amazing.
I mean, no time for touches, right? Janola straight onto the power shot. Top corner it goes, and he secures himself another goal over there. Janola has been so amazing here for TheBeastBianchi. Now we get to see Deevak on the ball. However, fumbling and not making those connected passes, which need to be crucial at this point. The numbers are just not in favor for Deevak on the attack, as now back to Atal, onto TheBeastBianchi. TheBeastBianchi with the through ball, but no, that is not working, and it doesn't go in his favor.
Might still be time here. It's only the first half of the second leg. There's still an opportunity or two for Deevak as we go on. Might still be able to make this comeback. And okay, that tackle, oh no, that's the worst case scenario. Mbappe is injured, but not injured enough to not get a shot off. However, finally see the goalkeeper reflexes come in clutch, keeping what seemed a guaranteed goal out of the back of the net. And who knows, if Mbappe didn't take that tumble, maybe he'd get the curl on the shot. But luckily for Deevak, he still has another opportunity here. He just has to defend this somehow. Somehow, some way, he needs to keep this ball as far away from the post as possible.
I mean, it's still first half. Anything can go AWire for these players right now. We could potentially just see a second half going into Deevak over there. But, you know, at this rate, it's not looking too well for him. 2-0. I mean, he needs to score 3 or 4 goals, 3 to go to penalties. 4 to go over to the grand finals, and it's at this point with Deevak making sure his defense is on par with everything. Diego Carlos almost
Okay.
getting in a header, but just off target over there.
Just off target, but still a little bit too close for comfort here for our boy Deevak. What's he going to be able to do though? As TheBeastBianchi's back in, he's been with Mbappe. Once again, the goalkeeper is on the money, but it's feeling a bit inevitable here. This is going to be the final passage of play for this first half. Deevak has a lot of work to do. He has a 3-goal deficit to somehow claw back from. He can at least defend this one. Keep it at 3 goals. All right, it's going to stay at 3 goals for now, but one half left here, Euro. There's only 45 minutes of normal time remaining. Do you think he has what it takes to somehow get 3 goals in one half against the TheBeastBianchi of all people?
I mean, if you looked at those stats, he had 0 shots taken. Deevak has been, fumbling his passing. He hasn't been clinical at all. He's been heavily double man marked as well by Bianchi. The player Bianchi is just in his zone right now. His attacks have been so crucial, but so has his defending. I mean, he hasn't gone past the midline. Even further closer to the box. I haven't seen Deevak in the box. In fact, he hasn't had that opportunity because the midfielders and attackers are just there to keep him off the line of getting into Bianchi. But maybe things start to turn around and we are seeing a build-up play coming in. And just as I say that, there goes, the block off coming out from Bianchi, and he's just able to secure things. And there's a throw ball coming out from him. Neymar on the run right now, getting near to that box. Dribbles his way in, but unfortunately Atal with the defensive play coming into position.
Ooh, very defensive play at the very last second. Pulls through. A scary situation for Deevak though, because there's still a lot of game time left. And oh no, the pass of his goes errantly directly to the Atal from Deevak. Fortunately, it seems like Atals are just having bad luck. 2 bad passes from both sides, but somehow TheBeastBianchi is still the one in possession. And he's still the one that wants to get another goal, despite the fact that there's no real pressure for him to do so, right? He just has to cruise this and close this one out, get himself into those grand finals. But he's not really going to put the pressure on to himself too much right now. As Deevak, he needs this goal. Sadly, it's not looking like he has an easy way through. The shot gets blocked, but the pass doesn't, and they're going to get another one. Another opportunity into the box, and Mbappe to the top corner. All right, still got a game on our hands here, Hero.
We do indeed. The first shot for him, and it's secured goal. Happy to see that come through with Deevak. He's able to secure that for himself. Let's see whether or not he can do it time in and time out again. He needs 2 more to go to penalties, and that is going to be interesting to see exactly what would potentially go into play over there. But Bianchi already in the box, and it's going to get into a corner. And we know what this means, is we could potentially be seeing that Diego Carlos with the header.
Yeah, we definitely can. There's a reason why TheBeastBianchi has him in here. He still goes short with the corner. Recycle it farther up onto the pitch. Finding Mbappe. Ginola tries to send the ball forward, but it's like a foul in the box.
Offside.
No,
Offside
offside.
or
It's
foul?
offside. Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, he doesn't have the ball anymore. Feel bad.
Does indeed. Trying to get in this one with a quick attack. However, the lobby is just not going to work out for him. TheBeastBianchi pressured over here, keeping on to catch for as long as possible. Thrown on to Mbappe. So many players running and making the run right now as Mbappe goes forward. And you can see the numbers building up in this attack over here, Sneh.
Getting as many players forward as humanly possible to make sure that he has the capability and has the strength necessary in numbers. And he gets a pass to Ginola, lays it off onto Neymar. Goes for the angle shot, but doesn't manage to find a way through. Maybe Ginola could have gotten the turn in that situation, but I don't think even TheBeastBianchi expected a pass of that quality to come out of nowhere.
That was really, really good from the players. Over this corner now means trouble for Beast, as players are making a run. Messi, however, won't be able to connect to that fast-paced pass. And now Deevak with the numbers up front, as the counter-attack was in favor for Deevak, but now it just looks like he's able to take a shot. But what a dive coming out from the players over there, managing to get a corner. But every corner is just a risk here for Deevak, and Neymar just fumbling and falling on the run to get to the cross. That's easily blocked. But on to Mbappe. Fofana now. Oh, that was close.
No, too close. Too close. Too close. Too close. I suppose the situation at hand is that with the ball comes that close in to be able to go into the back of the net, then now suddenly you have struggles with being able to maintain composure. But Deevak still on it. Trying to find a way forward to Messi, who picks out Renato Sanchez here, who gets Janola with a beautiful ball forward. But no! The save from Petr Cech inside the sticks ensures that we do not have a situation where the goal goes through. We do not have any kind of play available for Deevak. Oh, it was supposed to be a goal. It was supposed to be potentially one goal deficit being reduced to, but sadly, still has to do this the hard way. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was just such a terrible situation there. Now the BeastBianchi, is this time for game management here, Euro?
At this point, it is. I mean, Deevak's definitely slapping himself on the wrist there. At this level of gameplay, semifinals 2, you can't be missing such crucial opportunities. That was handed to him. That was an early Christmas gift from, you know, the FIFA gods themselves. But unfortunately, he just had to throw that one out the window and missed a great opportunity presented to him right there. And you can see BeastBianchi trying to take advantage with that. Mbappe making a run right now with so many players ahead, but he chose to take a pass where he could have even gotten a finesse, and that could have changed things around.
Oof. Came very close to being put into a bad position and a bad situation, but ultimately it still works out. Still is a situation where the BeastBianchi, though he still has maintained control of the ball. You know, it wasn't a goal that he wanted, but he's still. Oh, never mind. I say that as he just runs the ball out right now. Oh my gosh, that was a little bit hilarious. That was not supposed to happen, but this is now at the very least for Deevak. He knows that he will have an opportunity to make another play. He has a chance. He's got the ball now. It's very far away from the post here. There's a lot of defenders to get through. There's very little game time left. Eero, does he at least get the one goal? Does he at least get the one?
No, man. We down to literally 8 minutes remaining. Bianchi, who has been so successful in defending, I don't see him getting one goal down. And even if he does, it doesn't mean anything because there's just not enough time on the clock to secure 2 in the bag over here to even go over to penalties. I mean, look at the rate that Bianchi is defending. But I say this, and he almost cuts through into the box. But Marquinhos is there to hold things down. And ooh, that looked so good, but it is going out of play into a throw-in. Right now onto Sanchez. Though what could potentially be last-minute attack. But offside. Oof.
Yep. Offside. 2 for offside. I think that's the problem as well. That was very offside. It wasn't one of those nice situations. So because of that, now the BeastBianchi, he will actually be the one that had the final bite at the cherry. Running into the box right now. San Maximan finds Dembele. Can he get the turn? He does. Woo! But he does not. He does not manage to get the goal because the save is on and it was magnificent. Sadly though, he has the final corner kick here. So what is he going to do? He'll play it short as he's always been doing. And this should be good enough, I think, for him to be able to close this one out for the BeastBianchi. I don't think there's any time left here for Deevak, even if he does get the ball back in this last second.
Even if he gets the goal here, it is just, you know, dampening the lead that BeastBianchi has provided for himself. And there we go. Finally, done and dusted, out the window. Deevak, gone and goodbye. 3rd place position. BeastBianchi to meet up with Bobo Beast. Now we have a match on our hands tomorrow. I can tell you that for sure.
Definitely have a match on our hands, but the story is we finally going to see Bobo Beast become the new real Beast? He has the chance here to take the name away. Wow. I'm so excited for tomorrow.
It is going to be a beastly finals. Ladies and gentlemen, the BeastBianchi taking that semi-final 2 by 4 goals to 2. Somebody said that. Somebody predicted that.
No.
I can't remember who it was. Aaron,
said-
that was you. You said 4-2.
I said 4-1. I was close.
You said
though.
4-1, yeah. Didn't I say?
Yeah, really
I think
close.
I said 4-2.
No, you said 3-2.
3-2.
Yeah, you
3-2.
I
said
said 3-2. Yeah. We'll split the difference. It's all good.
So close, so close. Ladies and gentlemen, as you have just witnessed a masterclass in FIFA 22 at the Umzansi Esports League, it is the TheBeastBianchi qualifying for the grand final 4-2 over Deevak. Deevak will go to play the third place match. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been such, I mean, the stage is set for literally a beastly final. Snare, what's your take on what's going to happen at the finals tomorrow?
Ooh, what's gonna happen is right now, as we've seen before, the balance, right? The balance of winning, the balance of probability has always gone in favor of Bobo Beast. Every single time these two have faced each other, somehow it's either a draw or a loss, and it's a big surprise for the TheBeastBianchi. So I think this is finally the time where not only will he be able to do this for the third time running, but he's going to do it on the biggest stage of all. And I think we're going to have ourselves another Ngozi Super Cup player become Umzansi Esports League champion, brought to you by Modern Gaming.
So we have to give a big shout out to Deevak. Deevak did put in a great effort this season. I'm going to ask you, Arrow, looking at the third place match, Bobo Beast and Deevak, I mean, Masoom and Deevak. Sorry, I'm looking at the colors and it's messing me up. Yeah, Masoom and Deevak. Who do you think is going to take that? Just very quickly before you wrap up.
Oh, I mean, Masoom, took the first place on the overall standings over there. He went all the way to, 10-11 with Bobo Beast. I say, realistically, Masoom has this in the bag for third place.
Well, just been corrected. There is no third place match. Both players, I think, are getting the same prize as we described in the prize distribution.
Okay.
Third place is going to be, it will be updated soon, but we will have Deevak, Masoom and Deevak, third and fourth place. Those are the third place prices, basically, for players who didn't make it to the finals. So we have first and second place in the finals tomorrow, which is, as we have seen, the beastly final at the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you by none other than Modern Gaming. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been super excited to have brought you today's broadcast, especially with my two main Gs, and Snegodemos, aka Snare. I should say Snare, aka Snare, whatever. I love the name. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in a few minutes for some PUBG Mobile action at the Umzansi Esports League Season 4. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Sid here at the Umzansi Esports League. This is season 4. It is finals weekend, and this is day 2. I'm not here alone. I'm here with two of my best buddies, DK and Patchy, as we will be bringing you the action from the PUBG mobile segment. Ladies and gentlemen, as we do every day, let's take a look at the schedule.
Yeah, I'll take a quick peek at that. If you're not already familiar with how we're running these finals, of course, we're doing that nice little loop around, starting on Erangel, ending on Erangel with our two favorite maps, the close quarters Sanhok and the long range Miramar in between, with a nice little sandwich going on there. You know, you've got your burger set up here, you know, the two buns being Erangel, you've got Sanhok and Miramar as the patty and the cheese, you know, just complete the perfect setup there for these teams to go through, and it really does put them to the test, which is exactly what we want, especially considering that there is a very nice hefty prize pool that awaits them at the end of the finals. Of course, that prize pool for PUBG Mobile being $15,000 out of a total $17,500 for this season. 2,500 of which, of course, going to that FIFA 22 segment, which we have just had. If you missed that, it was just before this segment. Of course, we're in the PUBG mobile segment now, and of that $15,000 prize pool, the construction of that first place goes $3,680 to second place $1,530 to third place $920 and to fourth place $765. So that is a pretty spicy prize to be fighting for this weekend.
Yes, fighting for those prizes. And who is fighting for these prizes? But to get those prizes, people have to put points on the board. And to put points on the board, you need to be in the finals. So in the finals, we have some teams that DK is going to be telling us who they are.
Well, as we can see, of course, on the screen there, we've got the players there from the Infinity Africa. We've got Zero Tolerance Skills. We've got Slime 4KT, Influence Rage Africa, G3 Temper, BBC, as well as Team Unique. And then, of course, the players coming in from the Magicians. Now, this is only one section of our participating teams, and this is not the entire list. So we've actually been seeing a lot of these teams performing exceptionally well over the previous few days. And, of course, as we hop into that second side of it, we can see the other remaining teams, which would be C Esports, Sincerity Esports, ATROX, as well as Rila Insider, Lag Esports, the Sidemen, Aphelion Apex, and then, of course, the Natural Killers also represented here. And I'm actually quite excited to see what these teams are going to be doing. I mean, yesterday we started off with a pretty strong bang coming in from the teams, with already 4 different teams coming in with those respective winner chicken dinners. So I'm quite curious to see what the teams are going to be doing here today and who's going to be the ones to step up. And of course, speaking of that, we can see that reflected right here on our leaderboard, with Lag Esports taking the lead, sitting on a very comfortable 68 points, a mere 9 points ahead of Infinity Africa, right hard on their heels.
It is looking crazy on the table. 4KT, Villa Insiders, Team Unique. Of course, we saw the Magicians. Look at the gap between Lagging Sports and Infinity AF. That just shows how intense these finals have been. Now, I want to just pay attention to the players on the next page of the leaderboard, because when you look at the teams and see exactly how much and how many points they need to get through, we are surprised at it. Is so interesting that everybody, even down to Zero Tolerance Skills, still has an opportunity to make it into the top spot of this of the tables. Patchy, what do you think about what our chances are with these teams?
Yeah, well, I mean, right now, you know, it's kind of too early to say for sure. You know, tomorrow obviously will be the final few games that we'll have, and then it'll be a lot easier to actually say who is in the runnings, because right now what we're seeing is every single team still has a pretty good shot at getting up to the top of that first page. I mean, even the likes of G3, C Esports, Sincerity, Zero Tolerance, with a single good game, with a single 30 bomb, which we've seen dropped twice now. Yesterday, I think we saw 30 bombs getting dropped, or at least very close to 30 bombs getting dropped. You know, they could get all the way up to that first page. It is not actually that far separated, you know? So any good games taken by teams today is going to just be a huge boost, and it can easily take them up to that first place. You could see the point structure right on your screen right now, of course, that chicken dinner bringing in you a considerable amount of kills, but of course, or amount of points, should I say, but the kills bringing you in 1 point apiece means that these teams that get active, the teams that get into the fights, the teams that are able to pick up the kills really can launch themselves forward. And we did see that yesterday where teams were picking up a chicken dinner and then mirroring their score with 15 points just in kills alone, dropping those 30 bombs. It's just nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And all of these teams are capable to pull that off, which means that everything is still up in the air right now. Yesterday, we did have lag pull ahead just a little bit in the initial few games, and we did see them quite far ahead of the competition. They were really high up that list. They had a pretty good gap with the rest of the grouping. But the Infinity AF came back with a very nice chicken dinner right at the end. They brought themselves all the way up to second place, very close to lag. And that just shows you that literally at any moment in time, any of these teams could just move straight up to the top of that leaderboard. No problem. And I think, yesterday we were talking about the potential for the teams, things like G3 and 4KT. We were talking about how we saw 4KT in last season and many times in their sort of runnings this season come from last place to first. So, I mean, even with G3 sitting on that second page pretty low down and the rest of those teams even sitting in those positions, it could easily switch up at any moment with a single good game. The only way that anyone's about to take full control of this game, the only way that any single team is going to move ahead and stay ahead of the pack is if they consistently lay down chicken dinners or consistently perform, in the top 3 slots for the games today. Otherwise, I think it's going to be exactly a repeat of what we had yesterday, where some teams go ahead, then other teams go ahead, and then some teams go ahead, and then other teams go ahead, and they sort of they do this the whole time.
You know what I would like to see today? I would like to see the teams at the bottom do well, and then we have sort of this balanced out table where everyone is on like the same points, and then it's all down to the final day and to see who can dominate. I mean, it'd be nice, but I hate to see someone like just literally get a blow away lead today. I would love to have it such that tomorrow is so competitive that it's like, listen, if you lose one kill, it's like you've lost something epic. So DK, very quickly, we're about to go into the first map of the day, which is Erangel, and we have seen some of the teams show that they are ready in these finals, and they've had some amazing strats. I mean, we saw the heal strat, just staying in the zone and getting that top point finish. But who are you looking for today to really show out and prepare for the final day tomorrow?
Well, there's 3 teams in particular I'm going to be keeping my eye on here today. The first team up will, of course, be the players from Lag Esports. I'm also then going to be watching the players coming in from Rila Insider, and then, of course, Team Infinity. They have just been showing really great potential in that first day, and yes, they are really well situated on the leaderboard for the current time, but I have to agree with you. I'm curious to see what the teams on that second page are going to be doing today, because if they do not step up today, I don't think we're going to see that ever happen moving through the rest of this event.
Yeah, so it's set up nicely. It's set up nicely. The teams on the second page, you know what you have to do. Teams at the top definitely know what they have to do. And let's see how it pans out. We're literally about 10 seconds away from flying into Erangle right now. And I'm just going to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching at home, watching anywhere you are right now, we love your activity. We want to hear your predictions. What team are you rooting for? What team would you like to see take a blowout or win or get the winner chicken dinner tonight? If you're watching on our streaming platforms, please comment right now. And if you're watching everywhere else, ladies and gentlemen, get involved. This is the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you by Nordwing Gaming Africa. This is PUBG, and we have a fire match about to pop off. So I'm going to leave you right now in the very capable hands of DK and Patchy as they talk you through all the blow-by-blow action. I will see you after the game.
There it is. Thank you, Dr. Sid. Let's get into the blow-by-blow, starting with blow number 1. That is map number 1 right here on Erangle, as our flight path takes us in from that military island all the way up to Stalber, and we get ready. The trade blows once again in day number 2 of the grand finals of season 4. It has been quite an interesting thing to watch so far. Yesterday's match is the start of the grand finals were very interesting. We had a little bit of a balancing act going. And I think you and Dr. Sid were actually kind of saying the same thing there, DK, in the sense of, Sid was talking about how, he would love to see a little bit of a balancing act coming through where the teams at the, that are sort of on that second page kind of balance things out a little bit with the teams on the first page. And you were talking about how if those teams on the second page don't perform, it's highly unlikely that we'll see them perform again tomorrow. So I think it's kind of the same vein that you guys are hitting on there, where the teams on the second page kind of need to step things up here today.
Yeah, they definitely will have to do that, Patchy, because looking at how these teams perform that we've seen them do historically, you can't hold back too long, right? You can't say, oh, I'll do it the next match or I'll do it the next match. The sooner you can step up, bring in that performance and just catapult yourself up the list, the easier you make it as we approach that final day. Because once we get into those last 4 matches, that is it. Whatever you weren't able to accomplish on your way to that point, it's going to be just what you have to live with for the rest of the season. That is kind of done and dusted. But I'm actually quite excited to see what's going to be happening. As we know, in our first match on Erangle yesterday, we saw the Natural Killers get into a little bit of a crazy fight with the team from INF, closer towards that hospital side, almost at Everest itself. And I mean, that was some pretty insane plays that we saw come through there from Sela. But now looking at what we had with this match, or rather the flight path, it has taken a little bit of a different approach for that zone. Of course, now sitting over on towards the eastern side. The team's now having to change up their kind of approaches coming into this match. So now I'm going to be looking to see how the teams are going to have to play this one, because G3 already find themselves in a very favorable spot right over on towards that eastern region. We've seen them in past seasons really capitalizing on that exact same position. So could this maybe be the match we see that G3 come back?
It may very well be. I mean, it's exactly as you mentioned. G3 do like that spot quite a bit. We've seen them drop there quite a lot of times consistently throughout the season, and they do tend to utilize that spot quite well. It's a really good spot to be in, even when the zone isn't necessarily in your favor, because you have so many access points. You can bridge camp if you know that there's anyone coming from the island side. You can, of course, move up into Milta if you want to, or have access to the rest of the map. You can move up and head out wherever the zone takes you. But in this case, it's even more favorable because it's kind of in the middle of the zone. So it's actually a pretty good place to be, not only in the geographical strategical advantage, but also the zone strategic advantage that it gives you just being in the center of it. So I think G3 have a really interesting position to utilize, and whatever they tend to do with it, if they do well with it, that'll probably signal that they have a good chance of taking the chicken in map number 1. If they can't, it's probably going to be a toss-up again in pretty much anyone's game.
Yeah, because I mean, if we look back at their performances in the past Erangle games, just from yesterday, in the first match they finished in 14th place. In the second one, they finished in 7th place, but they were at least able to find 6 kills along the way. Now, it does already seem like there was a bit of an improvement coming in for them, but we'll have to wait and see whether or not that is going to be the name of the day here. Kind of the flavor that we have, the teams bringing in those additional improvements coming in off the back of those assessments they've made based on their performances just yesterday. But so far, looking at the zone, we've got several teams in very interesting positions. Of course, we've got the players positioned far up in it towards the north and south, George, which find themselves quite some distance away from the zone. But if we look over on towards that western side, we can see a little bit of that congestion now starting to build up as the teams are prepping themselves, potentially looking to set up a bit of a gatekeep on the edge of zone.
Yeah, actually a lot of teams around the periphery of that zone at the moment, and kind of just right out there in the great position to stop anyone from potentially rotating across, which may prove to be a little bit of a difficult task when it comes to, rotations coming out of Unique or the Magicians or Rila Insiders. They're all the way out towards the western side, so they're going to have to come in at some point. And of course, you have to talk about Slime 4KT and Zero Tolerance up in George. They also have to get a move on when that zone starts to creep in, which it's doing at the moment. And they're going to have to, get themselves into that zone and hope that they don't run into trouble, which is going to be difficult considering how packed, as I mentioned, the circumference of that zone is. So, or the periphery of that zone is. So definitely a bit of a difficult task right off the bat for some of the teams, but for the majority of the teams, they've secured themselves a really good position along those perimeters. So not too bad of a setup for some of the teams. Hopefully they can utilize that spot. I'm interested to see if anyone gets into a scuffle. You mentioned that earlier engagement that we had yesterday in map number 1 from the Natural Killers. I'm interested to see if they get into trouble again.
Well, we also saw yesterday's first match being quite an aggressive one, right? So we had about 5 or 6 teams really stepping up, getting super, super aggressive, bringing in excess of 6 kills apiece. Now, that was the players from INF, it was Team Unique, Lag, the Magicians, as well as the Sidemen. And as we then moved into our second visit towards Erangle, that is where we had the players from Infinity just taking leaps and bounds and getting super, super aggressive as they finished off with a beautiful 30 bomb, as you pointed out earlier. But of course, we saw the players there from INF, Influence Rage Africa, coming in with another 8-kill match. So definitely it does seem like Erangel is one of their strong points, a match in which a map rather, in which they are capable of performing exceptionally well with regards to aggression. Sometimes we don't always see the placement really working out too favorably for them, but they are at least still able to find themselves up in the top 10. But as we look onto the map now, this is where things are getting a little bit spicy. We got the Sidemen right there alongside the players from Lag, alongside the team, of course, from G3. And we could see several more teams now starting to move into that position. And I'm actually quite worried about G3 here because, I mean, if we know this is a position in which G3 likes to frequent, I'm pretty sure the rest of the teams also know exactly where they could be positioned.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you have to know. I mean, if you've been paying any attention at all to this season, you know 100%, or at least with a great deal of certainty that G3 is going to be in that area. Most of the time, they go there, and generally, you can find them rotating up from that position when they are there. Especially when the zone is obviously in a different position, you can find them coming in relatively quickly. They do like to get center zone. So the fact that the place that they like to drop is in the center of the zone, the chance that they are there is really, really high. So I think the teams are definitely going to have an inkling that they're there, and I think that is definitely. I agree with you on that point. That is definitely could potentially prove to be a little bit of a difficulty for them because now that their position is almost certainly revealed, teams might just be able to do a little bit of ganging up on them even without realizing it, just by centralizing into the zone as the teams like to do and as we've seen them do for this season, and especially even in the finals here. They're quite capable of getting themselves up into that sort of tight central area. Yeah, they might just be able to choke G3 out of that position, especially depending on where the zone decides to drop next. It might just prove to be a little bit difficult. I mean, you can see there's one single team all the way down to the south. It looks like Sincerity is the only team that dropped military, and they're just chilling, waiting to see if the zone is going to come down to the south or move up to the north, and they're going to have to decide from there what to do.
Yeah, and only time will tell exactly where that zone is going to be going. But one thing that I'm quite curious to find out is what Zero Tolerance is going to be doing with their rotation, right? In the last match of yesterday, we saw them in a very similar position to where they are now, all the way up in towards North George. The zone popped a little bit further up in towards the north, and they came in with a very wrap around approach. That, of course, resulted in them pulling up in between several teams positioned on the eastern side. So just to give you an idea of how far around they actually rotated, they went to the opposite side of the map, just riding that blue zone. But inevitably, that was also the rotation that saw them getting sent right back into the lobby. So only time will tell how they're going to play it this time around, as they do seem to be taking a little bit more of a cautious approach. But center zone, Patchy, this is where things are just going to go absolutely crazy. You can see the teams now converging even more so on that center point.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most surefire way of getting yourself into a semi-favorable position, because on one hand, you want to make sure that you have a defensible point, something that you can defend, something that you have a little bit of protection with, but you also want to be in range of enemies and maybe, take a little bit of an engagement with them, find some knocks, do a bit of damage, maybe even pick out a team that could be isolated, maybe you catch them on the rotate, or potentially if they're trying to do a split and you catch one of their players out of position, you can take them down. It's really good to be in the general vicinity of some teams, but at the same time, that strategic advantage of being in the middle lets you ride out the first couple of zones a little bit easier. And we've seen that the teams do like to do that. They do like to stay alive for as long as they possibly can, which ends up meaning that the teams that have that favorable central position usually survive the longest because they can more easily get into the middle of the zone again, get into the zone every single time it moves up. And it eliminates a lot of the problems that teams have when it comes to struggling to get rotated, struggling to move up into the zone. It eliminates all the gatekeeping that can happen at the at the peripheral line of the zone. So, I mean, it definitely eliminates a lot of those problems, and the teams absolutely acknowledge that, which is why they really do tend to prefer that centralization sort of mindset strategy moving through. And it does tend to work because it puts you also in close proximity to a couple other teams that allows you to get into some engagements and potentially reward you with some kill points, which some of these teams are now picking up on.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised really to see the teams just going to town on each other. So we can see them all being up close and personal. But I mean, looking at where these teams currently are positioned, we've seen some really crazy rotations already finding their way on through. The players there from Aphelion Apex, for instance, they've started all the way up in towards Stolba Kameshki region, which is far, far up north. And they've now rotated right up in towards Malta, just riding that eastern kind of coastline, now coming in on the edge of the teams we see positioned up ahead. So who knows, maybe that potential angle could be quite favorable for them, but it is all going to come down to what opportunities they see and which ones they try to grab. And of course, the players there from the Magicians find themselves in a little bit of a predicament. I mean, yesterday we saw them finishing quite strong up in that second position with 9 kills on board. I'm not quite sure whether or not it's going to be the same for them this time around, as they see quite a few teams sharing the position. But one team that seems to be super comfortable for the time being is going to be the players from Sincerity all the way on that southern island. And depending on where this next phase is going to be going, yeah, it is going to be quite the mission for them now to try and secure a decent spot within that zone, looking at how packed that eastern bridge is.
Yeah, and I was about to say how incredibly difficult this match could have become if the zone decided to shift slightly southward and actually force all the teams up against the coastline. We've had a couple of zones end like that, where the teams do back up against the coastline a little bit and have to work with that particular position. And it can get a little bit tricky to fight along the coast. Sure, it's great to eliminate the position from behind, and that eliminates a lot of angles that you could potentially get snuck up on from. But ultimately, fighting laterally along the coastline has proved to be quite difficult a lot of the times, especially when you get pinned down by a number of teams that are just off towards the mainland, just a bit further out inland. So it can be very difficult, and the teams who have managed to avoid that, or at least thanks to the luck of the zone, they will not have to be tackling that particular problem, at least in game number 1. So they can rest a little bit easier knowing that. But for now, that is going to mean they have to move further towards this side into the zone. On your screen, of course, you can see the Magicians. They've got some strong control of that compound just up ahead. We also have ATROX here with one of their players haven't been eliminated. They've only got 3 to control this compound. And then we did see a couple of players from G3 off to the side as well. They've got some players across that line, just keeping the fort down between a bunch of other teams. It's a little bit of a difficult situation because I think G3 have, it looks like they're split 2-2 on either side of this team here from Aatrox. Could potentially maybe spring a bit of a split trap here and take them from both sides.
Yeah, it could definitely be something that could work out quite favorably for them. But of course, if we look over to the side of ATROX here, they've been having a pretty tough day yesterday with not really finding themselves in a position where they were able really to find any kills whatsoever. Now, currently, we are still sitting with 16 teams alive. So we are yet to see who's going to be the first team to get sent back. Now, ATROX getting ready to move themselves a little bit further forward. But this is where that split play from G3 could actually work out quite in favor of G3 now, as there's a little bit of that hesitation coming through. Flacco not jumping up just yet, and that, of course, allows the players here from ATROX now to make their grand escape. But now it all comes down to the rotation. Will they be able to find a decent position in this next phase, as we do see the players here from G3 now starting to just condense that split a little bit more, looking to fortify the angle they've got? Because we do have the Magicians on the one side, and then, of course, the players there from Influence Rage just held up to the north, and with that already, Buden starting to strike down right on towards Hainsley.
Yeah, they've already moved on in, and so has the blue zone. Luckily, G3 is just up ahead of that line, so they will be safe in their compound for the time being. But for how much longer? We're about to watch where that zone decides to drop. The Magician's going to have to move forward just a little bit. The shots coming through from INF there. Nico also looking towards G3 to make sure they don't come in with the third parties. Res has to come through for the team as they all have to start making their way and planning their rotation into the next zone, which has dropped. We're moving in through zone number 4 towards number 5. We've got about 38 seconds before that starts to close in. So things are starting to pick up. That pace is starting to pick up quite a bit here for the teams, and they're going to have to get prepared for what is inevitable, considering the fact that we still have 16 teams alive, and we're about to head into the sort of end of the mid-game here.
Yeah, and it's going to get quite a bit tougher from this point forward as the teams continue to look for those rotational paths in. And of course, we can see that zone has now shifted all the way over towards that far western side. And this actually worked out quite favorably for Sincerity as they have the entirety of that western side at their disposal. They can set themselves up, utilize the terrain, and set up a bit of an ambush. And I'm expecting to see quite a bit of chaos as these teams are now rolling up from this eastern side. Of course, we do see a small section of the cliffside down on towards the southern side and up towards Potato Hill. This is where the natural killers, and of course the players coming in there from the side, I believe that is going to be the players from Zero Tolerance Skill finding themselves in a little bit of a tussle. Good exchange between both teams, nice back and forth. But of course, Roshi just holding up, trying to see if he can make a bit of a stand, hold on, and potentially bring in a few more of those points. As Zero Tolerance Skills are really looking to grab as many points as they possibly can. We've, of course, seen them bring in 4 kills in the first match, finishing empty-handed in the second visit over on towards Erangel. So maybe this could have a little bit of a different outcome for them.
It could certainly do just that. It looks like we've seen a bit of an elimination coming through already. I think that's C Esports to drop out first. Have to confirm that, but it looks like we've just getting eliminations all over the show. G3 getting hit pretty hard. A lot of teams now trying to move on in. Aphelion Apex also feeding the burn there, trying to escape that blue zone. Not easy at all when people are shooting at you as well, and you've just had so much damage put into your HP that it's impossible to escape the blue zone. Jassa trying to move up ahead of everyone, but he's got a couple of people to move past before he can get safely into the zone. And this is the result, once again, of having so many teams still alive. Everyone is so capable of just sticking it through the early game and not playing it too riskily, that everyone stays alive. And now we get this chaos moving into the mid game, moving into the late game. It just becomes really, really tough, really difficult, especially if the zone does not rotate in your favor. Then you just have absolutely minimal chance of making it back in. You know, you're trying to move past so many teams. There's so many people shooting at you. You're exposed. There's nothing to do other than get hit and get sent back to the lobby.
And that really does make the strategic play that much tougher to execute well. As we can see, the teams now all having to try and kind of force their hands. Not a lot of space really left to work with, as we are also now coming to the end of our 4th phase, about to jump up into the 5th. The zone is only going to start shrinking ever closer. And of course, the players here from the side of INF Influence Rage haven't found themselves in a position where they were able to gain any kills just yet. But who knows, maybe they could be looking to get a few of those onto the players here from the Sidemen, who we can see just positioned well in the compound. The zone, of course, now having popped, moving further down towards the south. So both teams here will have to get those rotations as they are kind of forced to do that. But this is, of course, where we could see a lot of those casualties now coming through.
Yeah, the Sidemen have been doing pretty well so far in the finals. And, you know, meanwhile, Influence Rage, they are still up on that first page. But, as you know, Sidemen are considerably higher on that log at the moment. Their performance just been that much better, or just a little enough better to be ahead of the team there from Influence Rage. So now that we have a fight between the two, it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top here. And of course, moving over to Slime 4KT, we do see them getting hit by Zero Tolerance as they move forward. The rotations have to come through to try and get into safety. And now Zero Tolerance looking to try and punish 4KT for that, not able to land those shots as the cars do rotate away. And now it's a back and forth there between the two teams. 4KT trying to get a little bit of revenge for the punishment from Zero Tolerance. In the meantime, Sidemen still taking that fight against Influence Rage. So things are really starting to happen here on the map. They're starting to get a whole lot more difficult here. Osiris holding down the fort up towards the north. Infinity also up there in that direction. Influence now pushing up on towards the Sidemen, but the Sidemen able to defend that push, no problem, picking up those kills, and the Sidemen do prevail. So it looks like the Sidemen really are on the up and up so far here in the finals. BBC getting eliminated as they try and move across that line. Too many players looking in their direction. And, well, we've been reduced team after team at the moment. Now the Sidemen, after having their victory against Influence Rage, have to try and move down into that zone. But look who's there waiting for them. It's Infinity. They're all the way to the top of the log. If we're just looking, completely blandly at the log at the moment, that just says all that it needs to say right now. The Sidemen trying to scramble into safety, just getting picked off one by one by one. No chance. They're given absolutely no mercy here in day number 2 of the finals.
That is the kind of approach the teams need to adopt if they want to succeed on the leaderboard. But for the time being, we will see the players there from the Natural Killers getting sent right on away back up into the lobby. We are down to our final 7 teams left to fight it out to see who will reign supreme on our first Erangel of the day. Of course, the players here from the side of Infinity do have themselves exceptionally well set up in towards this northeastern side of the zone. On the opposite end, of course, we can see the players there from Zero Tolerance Skill as well as Slime 4KT getting into a little bit of an engagement. Sincerity, they've been really quiet for the time being, just riding that western side. But of course, Zero Tolerance putting a quick end now to the team there from all over the place as the shots continue to fly. I believe that was Slime that just got sent back into the lobby. But look at this zone now. We're going to have that next phase shift up. It's continuing even further down towards the south, and we see 4 teams positioned up north, and this is where it's going to get pretty crazy as there's not a lot of space really to play with, and we've only got 2 teams close to the zone. So I'm curious to see if they'll be able to ride these zones out and maybe just sneak their way back into that zone.
Yeah, that zone looks about 200 meters across, maybe less at the moment, which is very little space to work with for these teams. And as you mentioned, so many of them outside of that zone. So they're going to have to fight their way on in. It's not going to be easy already. Lord looking to try and take down a couple of the players in sight. Just doing as much damage as possible, trying desperately to pick up as many points as they can as they try and move forward, knowing that any moment might be their last cache there. Putting some hits in towards Infinity. This is unique. Trying to assert themselves here on the map and open up a little bit of space to try and rotate in, but this is not going to be easy. Picking up the rest of the team, they're going to have to make a mad dash to try and get across that line, to try and get into safety, but the Magicians, they're right ahead. Infinity is up ahead as well. Everyone is just looking in their direction. Even the Rila insiders are going to stop them dead in their tracks, and dead is exactly where they find themselves, sent back straight into the lobby. No problem. All of these teams now trying to squish up into that absolutely minuscule zone. Zero Tolerance crawling up. Sincerity is here as well. The Rila inside is looking pretty strong in this one. Infinity rolling up with 3 of their players. The Magician still 3 players strong as well. Unique now getting eliminated one by one. Faker, the last player left for them. You can see those numbers are being whittled away bit by bit by bit. Mortal, the last one left alive for Zero Tolerance. Looks like Sincerity has some pretty good numbers for themselves as well. Infinity also looking quite strong here. So there's a lot of contenders to try and take this chicken right now.
Yeah, definitely quite a few teams. And of course, this is where we see the side of Sincerity really being put to the test. We also see Faker coming in from the side of Unique, just riding on the edge of the zone. But the nades will find their way on through as the players there from Rila inside and now pick off one of Sincerity's own. But this is still not a clear indication of who's going to be the team to take the victory, as we do see yet another brutal blow finding its way up on towards Rogue Baby, with Dizzy now trying to get the confirmed head straight on through. Easy and Aimbot now left to defend themselves up in and towards the north, but the players here from Infinity looking exceptionally strong, as well as the team there from Rila inside. As we can see, they just hold their position. They are positioned quite well, utilizing that southern edge of the zone, and we could potentially see this fight break out between the players of Infinity and Rila Insider if both teams, of course, are able to deal with the other 2 remaining teams, which will be Sincerity and the Magicians on either side of the map.
Yeah, and you can't count the Magicians out until they're out right now. They've been doing relatively well themselves so far, looking to put a few more points on the board to try and boost themselves up that first page, but the nades are flying back and forth. Magician sending them up towards Infinity, them sending them back. It is getting a little bit intense here, but everyone is just absolutely artillery striking each other right now. The smokes are getting popped as well to try and make the final stand. Their Sincerity suffering a heavy amount of damage there. Kato just sending the damage straight through in towards them. Looks like they've got 2 players left there, and they're quite low on HP. It's not going to be an easy move for them, especially considering that they need to move up in towards the zone up ahead of them. The rest of the teams are actually relatively well positioned. Now it's just a push for Infinity in towards the Magicians. Coco's going to pick up Paradox. Aimbot's going to fall as well. Now it's on to Easy to try and keep Sincerity alive. Rids all alone for the Magicians there. It really is Infinity versus the Rila Insiders right now, unless maybe these Lone Wolf players can find a little bit of extra damage before they get taken out.
But I'm really liking this play coming in from Rila Insider. They are just utilizing the fact that the 3 other teams are fighting it out up in towards the north. But of course, the players here from Infinity are going to get ready to push even further forward. You can see Easy now just getting sent back. Cascato strikes down with that finishing blow, and it's down to our final 3 teams. It is going to be the Magicians, Rila Insider, and Infinity. But Kato making a quick dash, trying to set up that anchor point in the zone. Trying to hold on to the fort. Of course, the players here from Infinity, not quite sure where exactly the opposing players are currently situated. As we can see, a lot of fishing coming through. Kato in a very decent position. He's able to get quite a bit done from that particular angle, but the players here from Rila Insiders now utilizing the space they have at their disposal, spreading themselves out in such a way that they are able to cover as much of these angles as they possibly can. And Kato is going to be a potential threat, especially there for Coco.
I love that flank coming in from Kato. What a sneaky man. Just getting himself ready for what could be a game-changing flank for Infinity. This might be the trump card that they needed to potentially pull out the win here. Kato has just made it well behind enemy lines. He's got a perfect angle that he just needs to wait for the right moment to spring the trap. They really have positioned well. Can the Rila Insiders sniff this one out before it's too late, or is this going to be a devastating flank coming out from Kato? Infinity, they're looking to capitalize on this one. They're in a decent position to start the fight. They're literally just waiting for the go signal from Kato to potentially start this all-out battle. They're just waiting for that right moment to strike. Up he comes. He spots the one. There's the first knock, but instantly retaliated by the Rila Insiders, who spot him out immediately and give him exactly what he deserves, and that is a quick knock. Now Senor going in for the res to try and bring things back in the favor of Infinity, bring those numbers advantage and try and re-engage with the Rila Insiders. But I don't think the Rila Insiders are going to let that happen. The smokes come down and Senor's forced to re-engage with the rest of the Insiders and try and defend Senor for as much as possible to get that res. And Coco gets taken down. That's a nice pickup. Dizzy coming in for the support as well. The Insiders have to just absolutely hold on the defense right now, because Infinity is hard committing to this push. They need to make sure that they do not get taken down by a nade here. Otherwise, it's going to be all over in a matter of instant.
It could be absolutely devastating for them, but of course, as we can see, Rila Insider now reduced down to 2 as even more hits start to flow over on towards Coco. Up comes the rush. Down goes Strip now. Zeke, the last remaining hopeful for the team. He's just trying to utilize this buggy as best he can, trying to get a quick few hits in, but the barrage of hits continue to fly. With that, of course, the finishing blows come through. And with that, our winning team is going to be the side of Infinity once again, picking up a second winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, and 13 kills to boot as well. Certainly nothing to scoff at. And that was a great setup coming in from Kato. They were able to initiate the fight, which is exactly what they were looking for. It wasn't the overwhelming flank that we were maybe expecting or hoping for, but it was enough to engage the fight and immediately start things out. The first knock came through. Infinity was able to immediately follow that up, which was huge for them because they were just on the ball on that one. The res had to come through super quick. The smokes got popped immediately. That team was just exactly where they needed to be, and they were able to capitalize on that push. A good defense coming out of the Insiders, but ultimately Infinity were able to close it out really well. And that was actually a really nice, clean final finish right there.
Yes, it was. I was particularly impressed by that flank. It looked like literally the perfect setup for that particular scenario. DK, for just very quickly, what was your highlight of that particular map?
I would definitely say the bounce back coming in from the side there of Infinity. I mean, they pushed up so aggressively on it to the players there from Rila Insider, and I actually thought that Rila Insider was in a very strong angle. But as you pointed out, that sneak wrap around approach we saw coming in there from Kato was absolutely phenomenal, and I think that was kind of the start of the win for them.
Yeah, especially thinking about the player that he took out first was on the far side of the map, and they couldn't get the other team couldn't get the res. If the play was closer, they might have gotten the res and being able to keep the numbers balanced. But Influence Rage definitely putting on a masterclass in a final battle case scenario. Quickly waiting on the standings to see what numbers have come through after this first map. But Patchy, very quickly, as you saw the line of the teams that have come in with the points today, what are we expecting to see when the leaderboard is updated?
Well, I mean, straight off the bat, Infinity's obviously going to be moving up. I mean, there's no question about that. They got the chicken dinner, which means 15 points. They got about 13 kills, if my math is correct, which I'm not 100% saying it is because I'm the prediction guy, not the math guy. But they should be moving up, and I think we're probably going to see them going to probably first place just off the back of that. That's almost a 31, 28 points for the Infinity AF, which is, of course, no surprise as we're talking about. They just did a phenomenal job of closing out map number 1, and it does seem like their performance has been pretty strong so far here in the finals. And if we see this coming out of them again, even once more today, they're probably going to be in a pretty good spot and in contention for tomorrow's games where they might just make that final push to the win. Of course, moving down the rest of the leaderboard, we have the Rila Insiders there, 16 points for them. Magicians and Team Unique able to pick up 13 points apiece. That's the end of the double digits, however. Zero Tolerance able to pick up 9, Sidemen picking up 7, Finn and Apex 4, and 4KT picking up 3 points for themselves. So some teams able to scrape together a good amount of points there. Zero Tolerance keeping up the pace. Sidemen as well, also going to just enjoy that little points boost for themselves. Then a couple of points for some of the other teams. ATROX, Esports, and Lag picking up 3 points each. We've got Influence Rage, BBC, and Natural Killers picking up 2 points apiece. And then G3 and Sincerity going away with nothing, which is definitely going to hamper their chances. Right now, G3 are sitting towards the second page somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, on the overall leaderboards, and not picking up any points in this game is going to mean that there's a lot of pressure on them moving forward in towards games 2, 3, and 4, of course.
Oh, and there you have it, the MVP of the match, Kato, with 5 kills, a damage of 665, and a survival time of 26 minutes and 34 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the opener of day 2 of finals weekend at the Umzansi Esports League Season 3. You can't get better action than this. We have seen teams coming in, putting in the business on other teams and getting those points that are required. Now we're going to be taking a look at the updated leaderboard when we come back for the break. It is still Dr. Sid, DK, and Patchy, and we will see you after this break. Welcome back for the break, ladies and gentlemen. It is Umzansi Esports League Season 4, correcting myself this time. And I'm here, Dr. Sid, with DK and Patchy, as we are looking at semi-finals weekend. This is day 2, and we end the PUBG Mobile segment, taking a look right now at the updated overall leaderboard as DK talks us through what's happening and the numbers.
Well, of course, we can see the players there from Infinity sitting right up in pole position, bagging their second chicken in this last Erangel match. Of course, the players there from Lag Esports hard on their heels, just trailing behind by only a few points, only 16 points. But then we have a little bit of that drop-off coming through as we move further down to the players there from Rila Insider, as well as the Sidemen. And then, of course, we've got Team Unique as well as Slime 4KT. All these teams really stepping up, showing some good form, good potential, and a really balanced distribution with regards to the placement kills as well as the kills in total. I said placement kills, it should be placement points, but either way, of course, that is what we are looking at. And as we hop into the second page, this is where we see things being very neck in neck. But I have to give a shout out to ATROX. They have put points on the board. I am so proud of them. At least everyone now has points on the board, and that is what we like to see. I mean, ATROX, they're just moving up, making waves, even though they still have only 3 points. That is an absolutely fantastic start to the day, and let's hope maybe we see even more of that come through. But of course, the rest of the teams are still very, very close, as we pointed out before the start of this first match. So it's all going to come down to these remaining few matches, and Sanhok is going to be one of those maps in which the teams will have that opportunity to get super aggressive and bring in a few additional points.
Yeah, I'm super excited about Sanhok. I really can't wait for that CQC action. Patchy knows how I feel about this map. It's just like everybody's just like sardines, just all right next to each other. It's like, you know, in Nigeria, we call it face me, I face you. It's like you're literally right in front of each other. Like you're looking at me, I'm looking at you. Let's get it on. You know, so Patchy, looking at Sanhok, we know we've seen sometimes I feel like in the final weekend, we have to throw away all past statistics and all past events away because people can literally just surprise you, like ATROX putting 3 points on the board. So as we go into this map, before I leave you guys, you know, who do you think has the potential to surprise us?
You know, if we're gonna throw all past statistics away and all the past games and all that away, and just look at what's happening on this finals weekend, I have to say I'm kind of worried for Sanhok. I'm a little bit worried for the teams on Sanhok because yesterday we saw just a little bit of chaos, just a little bit. You know, and when I say a little bit, I mean a lot. And by a lot, I mean everyone was like stumbling over themselves for like the last 15 minutes of the game, just trying to get into zone and like getting, you know, caught out in the blue and just getting eliminated left, right, and center. It was chaos. It was chaos. I'm hoping for a little bit of stability here today.
Okay, stability, and you can see the teams already flying out of the plane, and it's time for me to fly out of here and leave you in the very capable hands of DK and Patches and talk you through all the action. I'll see you after the map.
Thank you, Dr. Sid. We'll wave at you as you fly away, and we'll wave at these teams as they arrive on this map here. Sanhok, it's map number 2. And Dr. Sid is waiting for that CQC action. He wants to see the Sardines fighting, but first, we've got to make sure these Sardines actually survive the first few zones, because what we were seeing yesterday, man, it was kind of concerning. It was kind of concerning. Like the teams did not seem to be able to find the positioning that they were looking for. And when it comes to Sanhok, you have to make space, because if you don't, that is what happens. It's chaos.
Yeah, and of course, we already see a little bit of that early engagement now come through between the players here from G3 and Esports as they find themselves sharing the space up in towards Paradise, but it's going to be everything but Paradise for them, as they are going to have to try and assert a little bit of dominance here if they are wanting to make it out of the compound, or this region rather, in one piece. But just to kind of elaborate on the insanity that you were talking about from yesterday, I mean, it took 17 minutes for the first team to fall. The first team, and then the match finished 4 minutes later, right? But of course, hopefully things could change up quite a bit as we only wait a few moments for the first team to get eliminated. We're not even hitting the 2-minute mark on the clock, and Esports already gets sent on right away back up into the lobby. So so far, Batchy, things are already looking onto the up and up here. So I'm not going to be saying too much just yet. Aside from that, I think we're in for a bit of a surprise. At least we know after the first team has fallen, the match is not going to end in 4 minutes like it did yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, things, if they continue on this path, it may get a little bit easier for the teams. I think they hopefully learned just a little bit from the chaos yesterday where things just did not happen on the map for most of the game. Now they're actually making things happen. BBC walking in, going to get a quick pickup on Coco, so that's a quick elimination there for Kratos. BBC going to pick up a kill to start things out. So we've had an elimination, and we're already having a little bit of a scuffle here between the Rila Insiders and BBC. Definitely a lot more activity than we were seeing in yesterday's game on a Sanhok. So that's pretty encouraging. I definitely have to agree with you on that. So that's an encouraging trend, but we need to see it move forward. We need to see it continue on because, I mean, we're still 15 teams strong. I mean, that's still potential for a lot of chaos to happen. I mean, these teams still need to make a whole lot of space on this map because otherwise it is going to be, like sardines packed on top of sardines, and they're just going to be trying to like squeeze their way on and try and get into safety, but all of them are going to end up, just crushed into tuna. So, well, that doesn't make sense. But any case, it's going to be a little bit of a tough one.
We'll just call that the Patchy conversion rate. Like if you take a lot of sardines, cram them together, it becomes a tuna. It makes sense. Like they evolve, like exactly like Pokemon would do. But of course, I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of those evolutions really coming through. Of course, we do see, however, the players here from BBC choosing J Roller as they now get ready to move on through, focusing all their efforts on towards the Rila Insiders. And with that, Rila Insider loses yet another player. But actually, this is a map in which BBC actually flourish quite a bit. We saw them yesterday finishing strong with 7 kills on board, taking that 6th place. So maybe this could be a little bit of a bounce back coming in from them. Of course, another team we saw perform exceptionally well here was the players from Slime 4KT. I mean, Lag also stepped it up, bringing in a 7-point kill here, as well as the team from Apex also finishing on those 7 kills. So who knows? Maybe we could see that momentum spill onto this match once again. But maybe we could also see, other teams stepping up and looking just to throw a few spanners in the works.
Yeah. Could certainly happen. We just have to wait and see what the teams bring to the table here on our map number 2 as we start to head towards the halfway mark of today's games, which is a little bit concerning for some teams that have not been able to pick up the pace so far in the finals. They have a lot of work to do, and well, every map counts, every point counts. So we just have to wait and see if these teams can get that momentum going, get things moving forward, get those points and start to move up that leaderboard into where they want to be. Because, of course, those top 4 slots, like we looked at in the beginning of the stream, well, that's where the prizes are, and that's exactly what you want. You want the prizes, you want the bragging rights to say that you ended season 4 of Umzansi Esports League in a very spicy spot up at the top. And that's what the teams are currently fighting for, and well, they've got to give us a good show because the competition is absolutely stark.
Yeah, it is going to be a pretty crazy fight as these teams continue to push forward. I'm just hoping to see the next team getting sent back a little bit sooner rather than later, as we do still have quite a bit of a spread. We can see the players there from Aphelion, Apex, for instance, all the way down in towards that southwestern side, just taking their sweet time, moving up. And there's, of course, nothing wrong with that approach, but they are currently quite split up. Now, looking at the amount of players in the vicinity, they don't really have much to worry about. But, of course, the players here from the side of Sidemen will have a little bit of a threat to try and deal with, as we do have the players from... we did have Sincerity right up ahead of them, and they've got another team right there in their midst as well, up on this hill. So it is going to be a little bit of fighting still over on towards the southern side of the zone.
Yep, certainly will be. Hopefully that fighting will absolutely ramp up. That zone is closing on in, so we're about to start that process of really getting into the thick of things and really starting to trip these teams up. Hopefully we'll start to see a few battles before that happens. Of course, once, zones 2 and 3 start to hit, things speed up very quickly here on this map. We were reminded of that yesterday, and we keep mentioning it because it was like these teams just got absolutely caught out. They were fighting in the blue zone. They were getting caught out. They were just really tripping over themselves to try to get to safety. So right now, the teams need to manage their positioning really well. We'll see where the next zone drops. And actually, it's going to be quite a kind one. The teams won't have to go very far. thankfully for them. So they're going to be able to focus on the fights, and that's exactly what Zero Tolerance is looking like they're doing here up against the Sidemen. Sleepy all the way up on the top of the mountain is going to make it a lot easier for Mortal and the rest of the squad of Zero Tolerance to push through and try and pick up these kills. Matrix stuck behind a tree to try and fend off this push.
Of course, the team's now having that opportunity to rake in a few more kills. The players here from Zero Tolerance weren't able to find any confirms yesterday, but maybe things will take a little bit of a different swing here for them. You can see the team, of course, coming in from Sidemen, just held up atop of that hill. And what I like about the zone is it really allows the teams to get into those potential engagements they spotted while everyone is just trying to scuttle around, get into a little bit of a better situation. But now, this is where Zero Tolerance will just need to try and hold their own, already finding their first kill on board, and they're going to be looking to find several more as we have Sleepy very isolated up ahead, but this is going to be a little bit of a risky play still for them, as we can see the rest of the team now starting to rotate and wrap around behind them, and a lot of the focus here from Zero Tolerance is focused on towards Sleepy.
Yeah, it certainly is, especially because they are so very much isolated from the rest of the team. It's going to be quite difficult to try and get away from this spot with all those crosshairs from Zero Tolerance pointed in your direction. But here come the smokes to try and mask a little bit of that escape. Is going to make sure that that blanket of smoke is going to be thick enough to mask the escape. And up they go. Sleepy just going to dodge straight into that. But look at those bullets coming through from Zero Tolerance. That's a lot of damage done. Sleepy going to sneak behind that tree. Pop some meds to stay alive. So it could be a successful escape. And for the time being, it will be. Aimbot's going to get taken down by BBC. This is a little bit of a fight happening on the top of the hill here. The Magician's just up ahead of that, but that's some eliminations coming through for BBC now, trying to pull back off of the angle here. It's a little bit of a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, it's going to only continue to get tougher from this point on forward as BBC now just trying to get their health bars back up into fighting form. And the players here from Magician also going to be looking to bring in a bit of that improvement. But of course, we can see furthermore in the kill feed, the players there from the Sidemen not really being able to get the best positional play as the team there from Zero Tolerance now move further forward. And I was actually quite surprised by that play. I was really thinking that Sidemen was going to try and flank around Zero Tolerance, but it doesn't seem like that was what they were aiming for. Now, with that, they are reduced down to only one, as it is going to be Sad Boy, who we see just off in the distance. But up into boot camp, things are not going to look any easier at all, as we have the players here from Slime 4KT and, of course, Team Unique positioned side by side with Fexy coming through with a beautiful grenade right on towards Faker.
Yeah, things are starting to heat up now, as we know they will, as we know they should here on Sanhok. We're about to see that blue zone start to make its way in and close up on the teams, forcing them further forward and closer together. They got an easy zone the last time around, but maybe not going to be so easy the next time it shifts. We'll have to wait and see. For the time being, the teams are starting to move inward, although it doesn't look like they're too keen to get caught out just yet. They want to try and keep themselves alive, and that's pretty good. But, well, last time they tried that, it was a little bit of chaos. So these teams need to be light on their feet. They need to keep moving. They need to make sure they don't get caught out in the blue. You can see Cold trying to move up there for Aphelion Apex. Jas also getting caught out there in the blue, trying to make their way up as quickly as possible, because it is absolutely not suggested that you stay out there for much longer than you need to. And that blue zone's about to close up and show us where the next battle is headed.
Oh, and this could be quite an interesting shift coming through, as we can see it now moving right up towards Paradise. The players there from G3 actually finding themselves in a very favorable position, holding in to the Paradise Resort itself. But of course, this is now going to be that opportunity for Slime to get those advances, to get further forward up in towards the zone. Of course, the players here from Unique now could be waiting for that opportunity to strike, but they don't seem to be paying too much attention to the hills as Slime starts to make their disengagement. We also now see the players there from Lag as well as Infinity looking to venture a little bit further forward, but of course the players there from the Natural Killers now having a little bit of a potential double threat on either side. We've got a team positioned up towards the north, and of course we've got BBC just on that southern edge, and of course the team up on the north is going to be the side here of ATROX. So Sela, we've seen, is quite capable of handling these difficult positions. But how's Sela going to fare in a 1v4 situation?
Yeah, I mean, we did see Sella with a really nice opener yesterday on map number 1. The first fight of the day was Natural Killers just getting absolutely slaughtered, but suddenly Sella stepped it up in a huge way and really made some things happen for the team. But that was really a clutch situation. It was a situation in which the team was kind of pushing. There was a little bit of opportunity. This one, not so much the same. Sella is sort of holed up away from the team, and the other teams that are up ahead of them are kind of well positioned. They've got a decent defensible point there. So it's really not the same situation. Zella's going to have to be careful, along with the rest of the Natural Killers, who definitely have a lot to lose here. Of course, the rest of the team's also making their way on in. We've got Sincerity right here in control of the crossroads, and they're just waiting to see if anyone wants to push past him. That's some shots coming in from Vibes there. Zero Tolerance up ahead, just putting the hits in easy. Going to have to come in for the res on towards Rogue. Zero Tolerance just trying to clear the road for the rotate, make sure they don't get caught out, and they will succeed in doing just that, and they make it up to the hilltop and potentially try to re-aggress or either make it into safety from this point on. So we've got some nice successful rotations coming in from a couple of these teams, and this is exactly what it's going to have to be. They're going to have to really carefully make the rotations, carefully pick their way across into the zone, into the map, because things are starting to close up really quickly now. We're 3 zones deep, we're about to head into zone number 4, and so things are really going to start to pick up the pace from this point on. This is where things start to get really, really difficult.
Yeah, and looking at the region of the map that the zone has moved up into, it is really allowing for those teams now to move into the high ground as well as those valleys, just set themselves up, cover as many of these angles as they possibly can. And one of those teams doing exactly that is going to be the side here of Sincerity. We can see down in the valley right here on the fork. We get to see if they can find the angles up ahead towards the players there from Zero Tolerance. A very cautious kind of approach, also very aware kind of play coming in from the players here of Sincerity. But they got to be careful because we still have so many more remaining teams, and one false move could be quite punishable by any of these teams we see in the surrounding area.
Yeah, and of course, the fact that we have so many teams along the circumference of the zone or along the outer perimeter of the zone is going to mean that the next zone shift is going to be very punishing for the teams that are not on the correct side. So we're about to see if all these teams in the south are going to be punished just a little bit for the positioning that they have at the moment. They might just have to start scrambling up to the north. No, it's going to be the east. They have to start moving up into BBC, slap bang in the middle of that zone. Natural Killers up ahead of them. I'm interested to see if BBC are actually going to try and relocate somewhere else, because they are right in the middle of everything. And as soon as these teams start to come through, it is going to be an absolute crossfire. It is going to be very difficult to defend that position. But I mean, we've seen BBC defend pretty well before, so maybe they've got what it takes to defend all of the incoming teams here.
Who knows? I mean, I'm also liking the position we see there for the Rila Insiders all the way over on that far eastern side. Meanwhile, we're going to see Sincerity trying to pick off the players here from Zero Tolerance, as we can see Vortex up ahead, taking a little bit of a beating there, but being still able to find a good position up in between the hard cover. Oh, easy, just missing out on a beautiful opportunity. But now the pressure is going to come down to the players there from BBC as well as the Natural Killers, as they already have quite a strong controlling angle within the zone, but they are going to be tested to the max. We already see the players here now from Infinite, or rather INF, getting ready to push even further forward. Influence Rage Africa looking to test the waters already. Mercury has been down. Now it's down to Hainsley to try and hold on, and BBC taking a very spread approach. Of course, Nico is going to be right there on the front line, distancing BBC, looking to see if they can push them out of the compound. But BBC, if we know anything of them, they are going to be just holding down the fort as a beautiful spray comes through on towards Nico. But now they need to try and make that bounce back, as the players here from INF could really look to pounce.
Yeah, BBC going to defend that position pretty decently there from the attack by Nico. And that's going to mean that Influence have a little bit of a problem on their hands. They're going to have to think about exactly how to handle the situation, because now BBC have the numbers advantage. Once they get their reses through and heal up, they of course have the advantage in this situation. And Influence, they're going to have to decide how to approach it, because they could try and continue to take the fight. They could maybe fall back and defend just a little bit, or maybe make a mad dash into the vehicles and try and get out of there ASAP. Whatever they choose, they're going to have to choose it quickly, because that blue zone is starting to make its way on up. And so are these fights happening all over the show. It's a little bit more controlled now. It's not as chaotic as we saw it in the past in yesterday's games. So things are looking a little bit better here for the teams. It's clean cleanups here. It is clean gatekeeping. It is very nice pushes and defenses coming out for the teams, but it's fights nonetheless, and things are not going well for some of the teams that find themselves at the short end of the stick.
Yeah, of course, the players here from Slime 4KT having an exceptional match yesterday right here on Sanhok. Unfortunately, this time around, not having the same kind of fate as they do get sent back relatively early with regards of the number of teams still remaining. But as we can see, the zone is just getting backed and backed as the teams continue to push forward. Sincerity now also losing one more of their players as Zero Tolerance continues onwards, but the zone now shifting all the way up on towards the north, still staying in favor of BBC and the players here from INF, as well as the side of Natural Killers. And now it's going to come down to whether or not these teams can actually hold on to these positions, defend them, seeing that we only have 12 teams remaining, and of course still 37 players remaining. But just look at the zone, Patchy.
Yeah. This is where we're going to start to see a lot of teams getting eliminated. We have 12 of them remaining, but that zone is only, what, 300 meters across? It's not enough to hold absolutely everyone, and you could already see that there's fighting happening between some of the factions on this zone right now. G3 is now starting to try and creep in from the west. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Infinity, but Infinity have been doing so well in the finals so far. I doubt that it's going to be an easy challenge to try and push up on their location. So G3 have their fight cut out for them. Natural Killers fighting in the compound up towards the north. That's ATROX trying to move in. The Rila Insiders also trying to stream from the east. Things moving up from the south as well. We've got the Magicians trying to push on into the zone. Here come G3. Everyone's trying to get a piece of this pie, but not everyone's going to be able to get in here. And with all of these teams already situated in this location, it is just going to be an absolute slaughter to try and get to safety at this point in time.
Yep, it's going to be absolutely brutal. Of course, the players here from Aphelion Apex now just trying to suppress the team of the Magicians as they do continue to rotate even further forward. Of course, BBC keeping their eyes just glued onto the players here from Lag Esports. We can see the shots continue to fly right up towards them. Of course, the side there of G3 picking up a few hits in the exchange. But Lag now being put in a very tough position. Blue zone is closing up. This, of course, is the 5th phase blue. And now as we're about to hop into the 6th phase, that blue zone is going to be doing even more damage. But with that, the players from Lag get sent right on away. Aphelion also just narrowly being able to survive the first wave of that brutal assault. But of course, Magician Sincerity right there up alongside them. Jassa holding on for dear life. We can see Legacy and of course his teammate just not looking too great here as they are also fighting for their position. But this zone has just gone from tough to absolutely crazy as it continues to stay on towards the southern side.
Yeah, and BBC are going to be super happy about that. They have not had to move for the last 2 or 3 zones at all. So they just hold up in this position as long as possible. And all they have to do is keep their crosshairs trained towards the other teams. And all the rest of these guys are going to have to try their best to move up into the zone. You can see it's an absolute tooth and nail fight here. G3, Infinity, everyone is trying to get a spot in that zone, but it looks like G3 is suffering the consequences now. They're sandwiched in between a rock and a hard place, and that hard place is Infinity AF, who have been absolutely fantastic so far, and they are looking to continue that trend, getting knock after knock. G3 doesn't stand a chance. Flanco trying to move forward and get into the zone, get into safety, but Infinity are hot on his trail. They're sniffing him out. They don't want to let him go. They're about to claim his position in his zone, and they're moving up to try and do it bit by bit. Infinity moving forward. Can Flaco even hold on for a second longer? Damage is going through. Carter gets a little or taken down at least, but Flaco eliminated immediately afterwards. The res should come through, and Infinity still looking pretty strong in this one. The Natural Killers now under considerable amount of fire, but they're still fighting. They're still in this game. BBC, of course, maintaining their control in that southern compound. We've got 5 teams here. Lord just running about, keeping it real for BBC. But now, look at this. The zone once again favoring BBC. It's a fight between Natural Killers and Infinity AF.
This is going to be an absolute bloodbath as both these teams find themselves in a really challenging position. We've been seeing a beautiful barrage of hits going back and forth between both teams. And with that, the Natural Killers now get sent away as Infinity swoop on forward. But there's going to be a lot of pressure now on the side here for Dizzy as he's now having to tend to his teammates, looking to get them back up into fighting form. Already 7 kills on board and such an improvement on their performance we saw yesterday. Yesterday, they finished up, of course, in towards that 5th place with 2 kills. Now, they are in the top 4 with 7, but they could potentially be reduced down to only one remaining hopeful, as Dizzy's now trying to figure out which way is going to be the best way to go as he now heads out into the blue, leaving it down to BBC and the players from rather the team there of Influence Rage Africa to fight it out for control of that zone. We also saw one of the players there from Aphelion Apex out in the blue trying to get that raise, but with that, gold goes down, and we are down to our final 3 teams. It is going to be a really crazy fight. As BBC, Banshee, they look so strong, still have 4 players remaining.
Yeah, Dizzy is just going to have to pull that heel strat out. No chance of him getting back into zone at this point. He has tried to make a move closer and closer, but at this point, I don't think it's even possible to make it across that distance with 8 zones of damage just tapping away at your HP bar every moment. Of course, BBC looking nice and strong in this one so far. They've gotten the zone favor all game along, it feels like, for the last few zones at least. And well, Influence have a tough fight up ahead of them, but certainly it's not going to be too impossible. If they can put the work in, they might be able to pick up a couple of picks on towards BBC. It is a little bit of an uphill battle though, but as I mentioned, not impossible. Dizzy will be taken out by the blue zone, running out of meds, and unfortunately too much damage coming through in time there. Of course, now BBC trying to put the hits in. There's Lord finding a little bit of damage in towards INF. They have to be super careful about this one. They have to look for their moment, but it looks like the moment is not presenting itself, and BBC are just going to capitalize on that, instantly running up, picking their moment to fight. No problem. The confidence is there. They know exactly what was happening. They had full control of that situation. They didn't even give INF a chance to come back from that. And they will take a chicken dinner. And I must say, I'm quite happy to see BBC grabbing not only a chicken dinner, but just filling their pockets with those kills as well.
Oh, yes, indeed. And what a way to finish off this match. I mean, both BBC, well, not both, but BBC, Infinity, and Influence Rage, they just stepping up. They had a little bit of a tough run in yesterday's Sanhok match, but today they've come back looking to prove a point, and boy, did they prove quite a bit of a point here.
Listen, I'm seriously, Infinity Influence. We have to talk about these names because it's confusing me, especially when they are together like that, right next to each other. Infinity Influence. Yes, but let's just talk about BBC. BBC, shout out to you guys. It's been a while. I mean, Patrick, yesterday we were talking about hoping that BBC came through with some clutch plays, and they've done that today, getting a winner chicken dinner and putting some major points on the table. In a few seconds, we'll be taking a look at the updated standings, and then we'll take a break and then come back and you see the leaderboard. But very quickly, Patrick, what was your highlight of that particular match?
Yo, that was you know what? There's a couple of good fights in that particular game, but I think the fight that we had a little bit earlier on, where man, it was a little bit earlier on where the zone was coming in. We just had we had basically a consecutive string of like 3 different attack defense sort of maneuvers coming out from a lot of teams. It was like in the second last zone, and I cannot remember all of the teams' names. But basically, just before we headed into the final zone, there were some really good final pushes coming up. We had Infinity trying to move in from the north. We had some G3. They were really struggling in that fight. So just in that sort of particular area, we had some really good pushes coming out, some very nice attacks and some cleanups coming out. So I think that was probably the best thing. I think the overall highlight is just the fact that this game went way better than it did yesterday.
Fantastic. We've just seen the first page of the leaderboard with the points distribution up there, and we've also seen, looking right now at the second page of the leaderboard, with teams like Slime 4KT, ATROX throwing up another 3 points on the board right there. Zero tolerance skills not doing exactly what we expected, but Sincerity lagging all the way down behind. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been game 2. This is the MVP, Kratos, with 4 kills, 639 damage, and a survival time of 21 minutes and 59 seconds. This has been game 2 at the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you by Nordwing Gaming's PUBG Mobile segment. My name is DK. I was going to say my name is DK, but my name is Dr. Sid. I'm here with DK and Pachi, and we will be right back after this break. Welcome back. This is not DK. This is Dr. Sid here with DK and Pachi, and we are live in the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you by Nordwing Gaming Africa. It has been a blast of a few games today. 2 maps done, 2 maps to go. We are going to the place that a lot of people like, Miramar. But first of all, let's take a look at the updated overall leaderboard for the finals.
Yeah, I'll take a quick peek at what is going on in the world of this overall standings here for the finals. Infinity AF have rocketed past that 100-point mark here in the finals weekend, and they've done it already after the first 2 matches of day number 2, which is absolutely nuts already. Trailing behind them is Lag Esports with 77 points. BBC up in 3rd position. What I love to see, I called these guys out right in the beginning before we finished off the second round. I was like, BBC, they're in contention for top spots, top 5 at least. Here they are in top 3, making it happen. I want to see them succeed, man. It would be great to see them snatch a victory here in the season, or at least finish top 3, top 4. It'd be great to see them land a prize at the end of the finals. They've been doing so phenomenally well this season. So it's great to see them up there. And of course, Rila Insiders, Sidemen, Team Unique, 4K Team, the Magicians to round out the first page here of the overall leaderboard. And of course, the Rila Inside has also been doing really, really well in their stint this season. And of course, moving down onto the second page, we have the likes of Influence Rage, Aphelion Apex, Natural Killers, Zero Tolerance, G3, Esports, Sincerity, and ATROX doubling down on their point score right there, making that progress. So we like to see. When it comes down to it, though, there's a couple of teams on this page right now that absolutely need to jack up the game. And, you know, DK, you mentioned earlier that it was kind of a do or die situation. And if things couldn't be done today, then you were kind of skeptical if they were going to happen tomorrow. And I think I'm kind of in the same boat at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that is just the unfortunate way that, you know, the cookies crumble. That, and we've seen this happen season after season after season. So we still have 2 more matches to go. So anything could still happen. And maybe Miramar could be the map in which we see a little bit of a turnaround come through.
Yeah, you know, I'm really hoping for a turnaround, because I'm looking at that table right there. And a lot of the teams on the second page are teams that I'm used to being on the first page. Do you know what I mean? These are teams that you get used to seeing, the Zero Tolerance Skills, Esports. These are teams that you're used to having them all the way at the top of the board. But this is just a testament as to the level of quality that is on show here at the Umzansi Esports League. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the next map is Miramar. Big spaces, long range shootouts, high mountains, low valleys, and lots of cars and lots of what is gonna happen in this map, DK? Let us have your. Oh, sorry, wait. So the prediction guy is patchy, but DK, predict for us. Let's know what's gonna happen in this map.
Well, if yesterday's matches was anything to go by, I'm expecting a really strong performance to come in from the players there of Esports, as they were able to bring in a 9-kill game yesterday. And of course, we did see that winner chicken dinner going to the players there from Lag. So yeah, this could be a bit of a bounce back from both these teams. But I mean, aside from that, I'm still leaving it pretty open, as you know, we've seen a lot of teams just surprising us with comparison to how they performed yesterday, and today just stepping up so much stronger, just being so much more aggressive. So I'm going to be looking at Lag, and I'm going to be looking at Esports, but who knows? Maybe we could still be surprised by any other team.
Surprise. Give me a surprise. I like surprises. It's Christmas time. Give me something nice. Somebody like, you know, Zero Tolerance, just come and give me something that I can take home to my mother and say, Mommy, take it. It's from Zero Tolerance Kill Chicken. Anyways, I digress. This action that is coming up on Miramar right now, Patchy, you are, you know, what you say, your prediction rate is 100%, have you?
It is.
Yeah. Give us a prediction for this map. Test your prediction now.
Well, look, I mean, we're talking about a lot of pressure at the moment on teams like, for instance, G3. Dr. Sid, you were talking about how you were kind of used to seeing the teams on the second page, on the first page, and now we're not really seeing that at the moment. And so, you know, just going off of what we've been talking about, we know that now is kind of the nexus point where things could flip over for those teams. Teams like G3, teams like ZTS, they have to get things going, and it's now. And I mean, we've seen G3 succeed before on Miramar, so if there was ever a time for them to show up and step up, it is now. It is is right in this game right here. Otherwise, things are going to be really difficult, and DK thinks even impossible tomorrow to try and recover from a loss like that. So it is really now that those teams need to step up. So I'm thinking that the pressure is building enough that we're going to see some cool things out of those teams on the second page. They're going to be stepping it up, and they're going to be doubling down to try and make something happen here. I do still think that Lag has a really good showing. We saw them yesterday, as DK mentioned, on this map, and they have certainly been out for blood all finals long. So I think we'll probably see them show up for sure. And of course, we have to talk about the likes of Infinity as well, who've been quite fantastic all finals long as well. So I think that is my take on what we're going to be seeing here in this map.
Okay, I not hear any prediction, but no problem. You just use English to be jumping up and down the place. No wahala. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave you the very game of DK and Patrick. I'll see you guys after the map.
Dr. Sid seeing through my tricks and sending us into Miramar for map number 3. It's not the final map, though. We still have one more after this to tie things up. It is, of course, Erangel all over again, so do stay tuned for that because things are not done just yet. But now we're heading into Miramar. It's going to be, of course, as we mentioned, those long-range gunfights happening and maybe a little bit more space for these teams to play with. And you were talking about your team picks here for this map. You're saying that C and Lag have some pretty good stats on this particular map. But I do think that if there was ever a time for the teams on the second page to make some things happen, to shake those tables and start to put the points on, now is certainly the time. And if we don't see something now, then everything else seems a little bit futile.
Well, speaking about futile, Battery, yeah. This is
South Island finish? Question mark?
Maybe, but this is a very, very interesting zone. So I gotta add another team to my list, right? I gotta round it off with 3. So I'll add on the players there from Natural Killers, as we also saw them playing an exceptional game yesterday as well, finishing on that 3rd place, being able to find 5 kills through the match. So who knows? Maybe things could be working out quite favorable for them as they do find themselves up in the north, fairly close to Monte Nuevo. And as we can see, the entirety of that southwestern side of the zone is open for the taking. Now, I'm curious to see if the teams are actually going to start rushing up into the zone because, I mean, everyone else is up to the north. Everyone is positioned outside of zone. Yes, it is Miramar, but once that zone starts closing, they need to get their butts in that zone. So, better safe than sorry. Do it in the early game while there's still a lot of opportunity and everyone is still fairly low with regards to weapons and armor and all of that. Because especially that position towards Chumacera and Minas del Val, I think that could be quite an interesting position to take occupation of.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're throwing our team predictions out there, I mean, we also have to mention that Sidemen have been doing really well today. And also over the course of yesterday's games even. And BBC as well, they've been on the up and up. And I would absolutely love, as I mentioned, to see them, make it up in and continue to consistently be in the top spot. So I'd actually love to see them pull out a chicken dinner right now in these games, or at least in the next one as well, just to sort of keep that thing going for them and just keep that momentum going for them. Because I really do think that that they have just come such a far way since we first saw them originally, so many seasons ago, DK, when they were pulling out those long roundabout rotations in the middle of the ocean and doing all these funny things. And we sort of coined that term, that phrase, just because they were so good at doing that and so often doing it. And now they've progressed into a team that's absolutely phenomenally capable, not only of defense, but, of just taking the attacks, of positioning, of just they've made themselves a name to be recognized. And certainly they have a lot of supporters because of it. They've definitely become quite a contender. And it's just been fantastic to see. So, I mean, if we're talking about the teams, those are some of the teams that are definitely on my list. But I'm right with you when it comes to those rotations. Definitely rather be safe than sorry. We've been seeing how impactful getting into the middle of the zone is, getting central in that zone has become. And we see how keen the teams are for doing it. And so I think based just on the fact that we have such a southern zone, these teams do need to get a move on as quickly as they can. Of course, not barring the fact that they get their equipment, to get ready for that. I would love to see a South Island finish. I don't think we've ever seen one, at least in this season. So it would be really cool to see that come through, because I think that would throw every single team on this map right now for a loop. Because how many of these players can say, how many of these teams can say that they have really, run tests and strats for a South Island Miramar finish?
Ooh, yeah, that is. I don't
I
know.
don't think
I
anyone
mean,
practices for that. It's
yeah,
like, when does it happen?
yeah. I think I'll have to agree with you on that. But already we see a few teams being a little bit proactive there, getting themselves set up, rotating into that southwestern side. But looking at where, for instance, the Natural Killers have moved into, they went towards Monte Nuevo, La Drillera, that kind of region, which is a good kind of a bottleneck to have teams come into. But that position could also be quite a challenging position to be holding, right? So they could play it one of two ways. Either have teams come through as they set up a bit of a gatekeep and trying to kind of prevent the teams from advancing into the zone, or they could maybe let them go past, but hit them still in that rotate, kind of letting them pass through, thinking that everything is fine, and then looking to strike down. So we'll have to wait and see what this northern territory will bring on through the northern edge of zone. But I'm curious to also see what is going to be happening up in towards San Martin, as we can see the players there from Rila inside as well as G3. And then, of course, over in towards El Pozo, where we've got Esports and BBC finding themselves in very close proximity as we jump straight up in towards that. But it does seem like they are looking to prioritize those rotations, getting themselves a little bit closer to the zone itself.
Yeah, I don't think getting into an engagement at this stage is really the best thing to do, just because, engagements can potentially take a little bit longer in the beginning of a map here when you don't get the hot drop in immediately or you don't really get active immediately. Then the fights can sometimes take a little bit long, and you definitely don't want to get caught out right now. It's only the first zone, obviously, so it doesn't do too much damage, but I still think that getting into the zone and getting comfortable earlier on is a little bit more beneficial. So yeah, I'm also quite interested to actually see what transpires up in the north of that zone, because we've got a lot of teams that are going to come down from that region. And of course, based on where the next zone drops, we might have further rotations going through. And if I get my way, we're going to see a South Island finish. I mean, the likelihood of that is pretty low, but I'd love to see it. And I mean, if that happens, it's going to be forced rotations in from the north again and again. And that means that it'll be a lot of potential for the gatekeeping. A lot of fights are going to happen in terms of rotations and trying to get the space. So it would be really interesting to see that happen.
Yeah, and of course we can see a few teams already starting to mobilize themselves. So Zero Tolerance starting all the way from Ruins up in that northwestern side. Now, if we follow the road down, we could potentially see them pulling up somewhere in the vicinity of the Magicians. Now, the Magicians find themselves in a very good spot. They are able to go about setting themselves up, not having to worry about any potential threats for the time being. But if we look up on towards that northeastern side of zone, this is where we now see the Sidemen and the players from Infinity finding themselves in a little bit of an exchange. Both teams are secured within the zone, but they still have to try and defend this region as it is quite exposed. They do have a little bit of this terrain to utilize. I'm curious to see if the reinforcements from the rest of Sidemen are going to start rushing into this position here of Sad Boy.
Yeah, you would hope they do, because I mean, I was talking about how Sidemen have sort of been on the up and up, and they've been doing pretty well so far. I'd like to see them succeed here, and of course, you need the rest of your team to do that. You can't just 1v4 push a team as much as you would like to, as much as you feel confident to do so. So the rest of Sidemen will be pulling up, and they will be taking a look at the potential here to take out Infinity. And it would be interesting, actually, if the Sidemen do decide to engage Infinity here, because we were talking about how Infinity have a really great chance to walk away with some more points here, and well, they might just get taken out if the Sidemen decide to engage and actually successfully push that particular attack. So we'll keep an eye on there. All the teams now moving in. You can see everyone's in the vehicles. Everyone's moving down, trying to get into zone. And the next zone is about to drop. So we'll see where it decides to go. For now, though, all the teams piling in, and we're seeing them off on towards the western corner of the map, the western side of the map, moving down. And they're going to be forced further inward by that zone, which has dropped southward. It's not going to go to the island, unfortunately, and I'm going to cry myself to sleep about that later, but it is going to go south, which does mean that the teams will have to continue rotating, which just means more potential to get caught out.
Yeah, but you know what, Pachi, I got to give credit where credit is due. Lucifer in the chat said Churchill is going to be a power position to be holding, all right? And that seems to be smack dab center zone for the time being. So I wouldn't be too surprised if that position is going to be fought over quite a bit, as we can see already now. a little bit further on the edge of that zone, the players here from CE Sports and Rila Insider having a nice bit of a back and forth between the two of them, as Wizard now also waves his wand and heads right back into that lobby. It is now up to Kira and Risk to try and hold up alongside J Roller and Zeke, but the zone is not going to be backing off anytime soon, and this anytime soon. Soon, new word coming out here, but of course, Rila Insider, they have the numbers advantage, so you could maybe see them push up onto CE Sports and send them back into that lobby.
Yeah, and I think if CE Sports get eliminated here, I think this is the second time in a row that they've been sent out first, or pretty quickly on. I'm not too sure. They might have gone out first in the previous game, but my memory may be a little bit foggy on that. But it does seem like they haven't been able to get up where they want to be so far today, so it would be a little bit sad seeing them go. Of course, the rotation does come through for the Rila Insiders. However, they're going to decide to disengage from that and get into zone, which is probably a little bit of a better decision coming through here. Otherwise, if you get caught out in the blue taking prolonged fights, it's just not fun. And I think they've learned their lesson from yesterday, just to make sure they get into that zone. We'll just see if Lucifer's predictions come true and we see that power position coming into play, or if the zone is going to do what it does best and just throw everyone for a loop and, just, not make my dreams come true, really.
Yeah, dreams are wishes you dream up when you are sleeping. So, maybe, I don't know. I'm not quite sure where I'm heading with this, but whichever way the players here from Magicians. Yeah, it was some elaborate explanation of something, and then I kind of lost track, but we'll just hop straight back into the Magicians and the Natural Killers fighting for control of this western side of the zone. So very interesting rotation actually coming in from the Natural Killers all the way from Monte Nuevo down in towards Val del Mar. A very chancy kind of move they're trying out of here. Of course, the Magicians now trying to recoup themselves as they get ready to move, but of course the Rila Insiders also now heading in right behind them.
Yeah, the push is coming through. The Magicians are turning their attention towards the Natural Killers moving in to position, but they all have to be careful because that blue zone is on the horizon and it's about to cause problems. The Natural Killers right across the road trying to find something. Osiris gets exploded. Roshi as well getting exploded, and Nova takes the hits as well. Natural Killers, they're just getting obliterated right now. The Magicians are going to be quite happy with that performance because they've got the meds to heal on up, and Natural Killers are going to be scrabbling to try and get their team back into working order, back into function. I don't know if they're going to be able to in time. Seller going for the res as quickly as possible. Nova does get back on up, but he's low on HP. And here comes that nade to try and finish things off. Is it going to land, though? Lots of damage coming in from behind. Ash getting caught out. He gets taken down by Kira as they start to move in. CE Sports rotating past. Takes a few pot shots in the Magician's direction and makes things that much more difficult for them. That might be the hit that allows Natural Killers to turn the tide of this fight, depending on if they can make the most of this opportunity. Ash does get res back on up, and the Natural Killers can't push down to try and claim that one. So the nades are just going to be going straight on up. Seller gets set on fire, and he's just going to become a roast chicken. Goodbye. The nades come through, and Natural Killers now forced down onto the first floor into the waiting crosshairs of the Magicians. Nova does find a quick knock, though, as he comes on down, but look at this, low on HP. He can't win the fight, and the Magicians will just barely come out on top of that one.
That was a good play coming in for the Magicians, and of course that beautiful shot coming in from Kira off the back end really just gave the players there from Natural Killers that extra few moments of breathing room before that full send, of course, came through from the side of the Magicians. But now they need to continue their way back up into zone, as we can see it having shifted up once again, centering beautifully on towards the hillside of that southern edge. But this is where the zone gets so interesting. I mean, there's so many mountainous regions here, so many dips and valleys for these teams to try and utilize. It's almost like a small little slice of Sanhok coming into play here. But of course, we can see all the teams now starting to converge up in towards that center zone. So many more still alive, and of course the players there from Sincerity holding on towards the eastern side, so maybe this could be a little bit of a better run for them this time around.
Perhaps it can be. We will see. That zone has shifted down towards the south once again, so it has been forcing all the rotates to come through from the north again and again and again, but we still have so many teams in play, so many players left alive here, that things are about to start heating up. The teams have managed to manage their rotations really well. They've managed to stay alive for this long, but it's not going to last forever, and these teams are going to be forced into the engagements any moment now. You could see the teams in the middle of the zone getting ready for the fight. We've got G3 in that position as well. We've got BBC in that position. We've got a lot of teams that are huddling up to try and get into the center. And of course, here on the outskirts of the zone, we have Team Unique moving up on Influence Rage. Nico and Hainsley in a little bit of a tough position, but the res comes through, and Unique not quick enough on the trigger to make anything happen just yet. But there's another knock onto Hainsley. May have just come in to save the day. Sully on the back line trying to find the rest of the hits. Sorry, trying to push on in as well and just defend this position from the attack. Nico getting caught out and will be thirsted. The rest of Influence not in a position to punish Unique. So, of course, now they're left in a bit of a 3v3 situation where that zone is starting to become a problem.
Yeah, but fortunately, they are fairly well situated within the zone. Of course, the players here from Unique still sitting on a 4-man team. Infinity, or Influence Rage, rather, on the opposite end, already losing one of their players, and we see quite a lot of back and forth dipping and weaving as they make their way through the compounds. But it does seem like the players here from Influence Rage rather are inching their way closer to their vehicles, getting ready to disengage and head further into the safety of the zone. And so far, it does seem like they are able to escape quite safely, as Unique, of course, now get caught up with all the hardcover angles and that smoke that got deployed, actually working out quite beautifully for them. Of course, the players there from Influence not rotating too far away just yet, not really committing to the rotation up in towards the zone. Meanwhile, we see a lot more of these teams starting to trickle up and taking up some interesting positions. Of course, G3 set up over on towards that western side, up on the high ground. The same, of course, can be said for the players there from Sidemen. But this is where they're going to be put to the test, looking to see if they can actually hold on to those positions and not only just take some good positions.
Yeah, absolutely right. This is a time for the teams to prove themselves. The Sidemen are going to be put to the test as 4KT come a running, and it looks like Sidemen will choose to do some running themselves as well, get out of that situation ASAP. Infinity now taking a fight with Unique, and it's a back and forth, losing one player apiece. Sorry, coming up to try and pick off a couple more. Infinity looking to keep their momentum building in this series so far in the finals. Right now, Unique trying to put a stop to that, trying to stop them in their tracks. Will they let it happen, though? We'll see. Things are looking very tough for a lot of the teams that are trying to relocate inside that. So we still have 12 teams on the board, 42 players here as we move in towards zone number 5. That is going to mean these players are going to run out of space super, super quickly. Cage getting taken down there. Pablo finding some eliminations for himself. Exist turning his attention towards Kato to try and put in a few hits there and do some damage towards Infinity. And it seems to be working. That's a lot of HP being shaved off there. Infinity in a bit of a difficult spot. Dizzy up ahead, but he's sandwiched in between so many teams. Things are not looking easy at all.
Yeah, and of course, that is one of the beauty of Miramar. The teams have the opportunity to creep up alongside each other. Of course, the Sidemen now taking quite a bit of a beating there as Slime 4KT continue to push forward. The players here from Infinity also now making that push, disengaging from this eastern edge, looking to see if they can potentially sneak up with a bit of a third-party play on the two teams fighting up ahead. But this is where both Slime 4KT and the Sidemen are going to be put to the test. As we can see, of course, the grenades, the mollies, everything now getting cooked up, getting sent on through. Slime actually already sitting on 4 kills, as we can see, which is already an improvement on what we had for them just in yesterday's match. Of course, they were only able to find 2 kills, taking that 7th place. But this time around, they look to be just assessing the situations a little bit better, having a few better angles to work with, as well as they now continue to move forward. And with that, take down the team there from Sidemen. And with that, of course, we are into our top 10, Patchy.
Yeah, we certainly are. 4KT doing a lot better here today in this map, and they've picked up some kills for themselves, as you pointed out. Now they're moving forward to try and challenge none other than Infinity, who could potentially do a little bit of damage as they try and rotate away. You can see the nades still going up. There's been so many nades tossed back and forth so far. The zone has shifted south once again and made things that much more difficult for these teams as we move into zone number 6. Things are not easy. Slime 4KT splitting into 2-2, trying to get into their getaway vehicles. Infinity also doing the same. They know they've got to get into zone as quickly as they possibly can. But right now, with 10 teams still remaining on the board, that re-entry is not looking easy, and Infinity have just found that out. Unique finding the shots, Kato getting thirsted immediately, Existent, sorry, chiming in with the damage. You cannot just face push right into a full team stacked up in the only compound inside, or the only one of two compounds inside the zone at the moment. So a little bit of a misstep there from Infinity, and that could cost them right now because they've lost a player, and Slime4KT are looking to finish the job right here. The blue zone, of course, starting to move in is going to make things difficult for the teams. That's a lot of damage to have to worry about when taking a fight. Lord going to come in towards Dizzy to try and get the res, but I think 4KT have got this one on lock. They have some nice angles into Infinity, and they're going to make this really difficult for them.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. They are going to make it super, super difficult, but not only for the side of Infinity. Slime 4KT also going to be having a little bit of a challenging rotation to get that entrance set up once more. But we do see them now hopping into those vehicles, getting ready to move. The shots already starting to fly up from the side of Infinity. But further down south, the players there from Rila, Insider, and ATROX are going head to head. ATROX now looking to push further back up in towards the zone. Coco, of course, getting hit by the blue. It is now down to Zeke to try and make that final play for the team. Of course, BBC also still alive, are going to be rotating along that western side, coming in just north of G3. With that, of course, G3 welcomes them into the zone, laying down the fire. And look at the absolute carnage now as BBC just find themselves in such a challenging position.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Sandwich between two G3 players here. Gunner and Flaker trying to move in. Lots of damage being done. But Yaya will find Gunner in the meantime. Some damage goes right into him, puts him on the ground, and makes things even more difficult to try and contend with here as the map glitches out considerably. We see the fights continuing here. Hadesley on the top of the mountain, scoping out the situation. ATROX getting into a scuffle of their own. Faker here from Unique, trying to put the shots in as the team start to rotate through. 4KT putting their presence right on the board here, making themselves known, but instantly all the teams turn their attentions towards them and start to eliminate them one by one. So much damage being dealt. 4KT taking some heavy losses here as all the teams start to just contend for the last remaining spaces here in the zone. It shifts up once again. We're about to see where it drops. If it decides to go south, no, it goes north for the final time, or potentially the second last zone here for our teams. ATROX now on the top of the hill have to rotate down forward into the zone. The rest of the teams a little bit closer to try and contend with that final rotation. Man, most of the teams, they have to get in there, and it's not going to be easy. Sincerity taking some losses here. Unique need to just push themselves right over that edge to get in to that zone and try and make their presence known there and trying to assert themselves on that zone, because it is absolutely tiny. So it just, the first person to claim it basically gets priority.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. And so far, Unique has actually been having a pretty good run right here on Miramar. If we look back to how they performed yesterday, they were the first team back in the lobby, getting sent away with only one kill. This time around, really having an exceptional game so far. But of course, we are quite some ways away from the end of the match as we still sit with 7 teams remaining, 20 players still alive. You see the side here of ATROX looking to try and get up ahead of the blue. Zeke up ahead is going to be looking to make things a little bit more challenging, but of course Sincerity now looking to set themselves up in anticipation as well. But here we go, the shots are starting to fly on through as Sincerity look to strike down. G3 coming in with a third party right behind them, and this could maybe be the spot in which G3 just run absolute fire through the players of Sincerity.
It could certainly be, and I was talking about this where G3 have the potential to make something happen here, and I was talking about this is the game that they could make it happen, and this is exactly what they're doing. G3 find a nice elimination onto Easy with a great nade tossed right into the face. Sincerity getting eliminated there one by one. Even a couple of other players and teams chiming in. Willie, the last player alive for Sincerity there. Unique, still 3 players strong down towards the one side. G3 have got a 2-2 split on the either side of this little hillock. We'll see if they can control this space here. Unique are, of course, starting to rotate around the back. You've got Keish moving in to see if he can get in behind Influence Rage there and maybe do some damage. Zeke actually going for a buggy to try and give himself a little bit more cover in the zone. He knows he's trying to solo it out here, and that's not an easy thing to do when you've got all of these teams still fully stacked. And when it comes to G3, when they have all their players still left here in the final zone, that's when you know they've come to play. That's when you know they're serious about what's happening. And this is exactly the time when they needed to step it up. Anything else would have been too late. And so now they're looking to assert themselves. They're looking to grab this chicken dinner, and they're looking to do it right now. Buden and Gunner moving up towards Willie. Elimination going to come through, no problem. Another slam dunk nade coming in to secure that. And now they're starting to move their way slowly across that map. We're about to see the next zone drop and see if it's in their favor.
Well, I got to say, G3 looking exceptionally strong here, coming in with that 2-2 split. Unfortunately, the zone just shifting that slight tad bit away from them. But of course, they still have their numbers. As we can see, Gunner now getting ready to push even further forward, looking to set up a bit of an anchor point in the zone itself. Unique also just holding on for dear life, sitting there with 3 players still left to make a move. And of course, just on that northern, or rather eastern side, we do see the players from Influence Rage now huddled up in their little shack. They're trying to ride out the storm. We do see Six God now taking quite a few hits as he's getting caught out in a very exposed position out in the open. Zeke also just riding the edge of zone, looking to potentially sneak in and get up in towards the top 3. But who knows which way this is going to go. Of course, G3 looking to make this the match in which they just go absolutely ham, bring in as many points as they possibly can. And who knows, actually, this could maybe be exactly that match. They have the numbers, they have the really strong position, but are they going to be able to capitalize on that with 3 opposing teams still positioned around them?
That is the question that we are asking here. Can G3 hold the line at the moment? They've got the numbers advantage, but is it going to last? Unique still have 3 players, but that might not last. Mercury putting a few hits into Cage is going to get them down, and now G3, they might have an inkling. They might smell blood in the water here and maybe try and launch an attack in that direction to try and hit them while they're down. The nades, of course, getting prepped, and Buden tosses one over, but instantly getting taken down there by a player from the one side. Things are not easy. G3 cannot overstep. They cannot push a little bit further than they are welcome. They have to maintain their cover. They have to maintain their position, but there's the elimination. That's 1 down, 1 more team to go, and it's Unique. They've already had a lot of damage dealt, and they haven't really had time to recuperate. Buden now getting picked up, will be able to survive, and now G3 are looking to finalize this game. They're looking to pick up that chicken dinner that is going to be so useful, so crucial for them. 12 kills for them. If they get this elimination, it's going to be 3 extra kills in their pocket for 15. That's a 30 bomb in the making, waiting to happen for G3. If they could just reach out and take it and secure it, this could be the boost that they needed to make it off that second page.
But of course, Unique is not going to be letting them slide into that one all too easy. You can see Exist now sending out the mollies, trying to reach all the way across. In fact, several mollies now getting deployed as Keish and Faker are keeping a very watchful eye from the north. But this is going to come down to that final push. We've got a few seconds remaining on the clock before this 8th phase will come to a close, and we are going to be moving into our final zone. It is done to the positions. Of course, the players here from Unique just trailing with 3 kills behind the players here from G3. But this game could go either which way. Unique stepping up their performances. The players here from G3 also kind of coming out of nowhere, managing to hold on to the full squad all the way up into this final battle. And this is where we're going to be seeing these 7 players fight out to see who's going to be the team that will reign supreme. Will it be Unique? Will it be the side of G3? Oh, it's only a few moments away, Patchy.
It is. It is. It is only a few moments away. There's almost 0 chance that these teams will be able to bait or wait out this match any longer. They have to take an engagement in G3. They're going to double down onto the side, moving in towards Keish. They're looking for that final engagement here, but Keish has been sniffing this out for quite some time. He's got to be feeding this information back to the team, instantly falling off the angle. He knows that the attack is coming. He knows that G3 are ready for this chicken dinner, but are they going to overstep? Are they going to make a mistake? So far, G3, they've just been holding back, just pulling back on the reins until the final moments of forward. Gunner moving to the spearhead. Buden also running up to the tree to take cover. And this is the final zone that is going to happen here on this map. The final fight is about to happen. The smoke's getting popped for the final time here on Miramar in day number 2, and Keish is the first to fall, and that's the go signal for G3. Up they come. This should be an easy elimination, and it is. Faker goes down, and Exist is the next to fall. G3 have secured their victory here on Miramar.
Oh, such a beautiful push coming in there from them, dropping that 15 bomb and the 30 bomb at the end. What a way to close it off. Of course, the players there from Unique finishing off strong as well, coming in with 9 kills alongside their 12 placement points. And of course, the players there from Influence Rage finishing up in third place. So again, some really strong plays all the way through. But what a bounce back this has been coming in off the back of G3 here.
Yeah, it absolutely has been. And just for the record, I am going to point out that when Dr. Sid asked me for that prediction, I said if this is ever going to be the time, G3 needs to step it up now. They did.
I was waiting for
Archie's
that.
prediction rate remains 100%. Thank you
I
very
was
much.
waiting for that. I was so waiting for that. Ladies, listen, you called it, and I admit you did call it. Like, if you saw my face just as that map ended, I literally had my eyes popping out. I was like, oh my God, Pachi was actually right. Like he did call it. Ladies and gentlemen, that was just an amazing gameplay. That final match, watching the setup for that push, and then watching the final push happening, it was so cool and so amazing to watch. G3 Temper coming in with the winner chicken dinner, and if I'm not mistaken, at least what, 17, 15 kills?
Mm.
That a lot of kills. We're looking at a potential 30 bomb game here, which, if I'm not mistaken, is going to get them into the top page on the leaderboard, and it is setting up to be a very interesting finals. Now, also, I see Sincerity Esports up there. ATROX got some amazing, some interesting points. So this standing is going to be very interesting. Patchy, sorry, DK, what was your highlight of that map?
I gotta say, this final push coming in from G3, the way they just were able to stay so cool, calm, and collected while moving forward and just delivering the assault onto the players there from Unique, it was absolutely beautiful. And that is the G3 we know. The way that they just moved in so swiftly, just quickly dealing with the threat. And of course, as we can see, it culminated in them ending up with a beautiful 30 bomb. Of course, the players there from Unique for securing themselves the 21 points. Influence Rage Africa sitting up in third there with 12 points. Rila and Sindus also still holding strong on 11. But then we get to ATROX, who've just been on the up and up here today, finishing with a 10-point game. Absolutely beautiful stuff. I think that puts them on a grand total of 16 points. What a way to go.
Yeah, and also you can see teams like Slime4KC and the Magicians coming to a point to just keep them pecking away at the orders. Like I said, I saw CE Sports way up there, but you know, it is only 2 points. Laggy Sports with 4 points. It's amazing. Zero tolerance skills, Sincerity Esports, and Felix and Natural Killers not really doing as well as expected right there. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a very, 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 very quick break, and we'll come back with the updated leaderboards, and then we're going to be having our final map as we take a look at Zist. Yeah, Zist. Exists. Yo, these names, yo. Exists with the MVP with 6 kills, 859 damage, and a survival time of 27 minutes and 32 seconds. As I was saying, it is the Umzansi Esports League. This is season 4. If you're in the chat right now, make sure you keep your thumbs moving and your fingers tapping. I want to hear exactly how you feel. Who do you think is going to be winning the final map? And myself, DK, and Patchy will see you right after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the final weekend, final map of the day. We just witnessed some action on Miramar with G3 Empire coming through and taking the winner chicken dinner. And we're about to see how that 30 bomb win shakes up the entire table. It is Dr. Sid, DK, and Patchy with the action. Patchy was going in.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a peek at what is happening. Of course, Infinity AF remaining up at the top there. It's going to be a little bit difficult to catch up with them. And they didn't even pick up anything in that previous game, and they're still on top, which just goes to show you how big that gap is. It's been closed up just a little bit. Lag Esports, 81 points, so not too far behind, but BBC, of course, down at 67 with Team Unique, also 67 there. So the gap does expand just a little bit. Moving down, of course, as it gets a little bit closer, 66 points with Rila Insiders, 57 there for G3 Tampa after that very nice chicken dinner, and 30 bomb in the previous game. They have moved up onto that first page, but they're going to need to keep putting the work in and keep the consistency going now to be able to maintain their position. And of course, if they want to take a shot at the top 3, top 4 spots, they're going to have to keep going with the hits. They cannot drop the ball now. Of course, the rest of the teams now here on the second page have got a lot of work to do themselves, and well, they've only got one map more today to make it happen. DK's already given the final ultimatum to the teams that find themselves here, saying that, well, if you haven't started moving now, then tomorrow is too late already. So this is the final opportunity for today's games. These teams will be able to put some points on the board. And of course, we circle all the way back to Erangel for map number 4, where these teams have already gotten a bit of a chance to warm up just a little bit.
Yeah, you have warmed up, you have fought on Erangel already, so you know exactly how Erangel works. So if you don't work Erangel the right way, you're not going to get the work that you need from Erangel to get the points that you need. I'm just trying to throw some knowledge out there. If you get me, you get me. If you don't get me, there's nothing I can do about it. Ladies and gentlemen, DK, what are we expecting on this particular map as we circle back with these teams having another opportunity to get some points on the board?
Well, I'm still going to be looking at the players from Lag, Gorilla Insider, as well as Infinity. Those 3 teams, just based on their overall performance yesterday, have been showing some really, really good potential. Of course, we've had a few shakers coming into today, as we saw, G3 stepping up their performance. But historically speaking, Erangel hasn't been a very strong match for them. Yes, they did finish yesterday up in 7th place with 6 kills on board, but that was kind of the best performance they had for the day yesterday. So far today, of course, obviously they finished off with a beautiful 30 bomb there alongside that chicken dinner, but are they going to be able to replicate that once again as we now head into the final match? I don't know.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, everything is up in the air. It's the final map of the day. Last chance for some teams to put some points on the board or to get themselves in a position to make a difference tomorrow. My name is Dr. Sid, leaving you in the hands of Patchy and DK as they give you all the action that is the Umzansi Esports League Season 4.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sid. Indeed, we have circled all the way back to Erangel. We are here with map number 4, our flight path taking us all the way down from the southeast up towards the top of Severny. And we are ready to get things going. I already see some teams headed down onto that island, which makes me extra happy. All of those teams going to get a bonus of 2,000 Patchy points just because I'm feeling generous in that island, getting the love that it deserves. The real question that DK posed to us and the teams here that are playing is, can they keep it up? G3 dropped a 30 bomb, but can they keep that ball rolling right now? You've issued the ultimatum earlier today. Dr. Sid's asked the question, put themselves in the positions to actually make a difference tomorrow. That's really what is happening at the moment. And well, do you think that these teams will be able to make that happen? Do you think that any of the teams that are on that second page right now can make a difference here in this game?
It all depends on the mentality, Patch. If they are focused enough, they could definitely make that a possibility. I mean, take for instance the players there from ATROX, right? Yesterday, not a single point on the board. Already today, they've been improving match after match after match. First match, 3 points. Second match, 3 points. Third match, bringing in a 10-pointer. So, yes, it's not the most insane amount of points we've ever seen, but still, it's a constant, steady growth, right? So, I'm hopeful for them coming into this 4th match. Maybe this could be the one in which they surpass that 10-point and maybe bring in even more so. But only time, of course, will tell where exactly they are able to find themselves. But if a team sitting at the bottom of the log can do that, all the other teams above them can do exactly the same.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. It looks like we're already breaking off to a little bit of a scuffle up there towards Rozok and just off to the side. A few shots being fired there and amongst the natural killers as well. So, yeah, it looks like teams have already gotten off to a bit of a quick start here. They know that this is the final map today to make something happen. And as Dr. Sid mentioned, this is really the last chance to really get yourself in a position to make the last shot in tomorrow, because ultimately, I mean, the goal is to get the win, right? That's what you want to do, and you want to put yourself in the best position possible to make that happen, or at least make top 4 to get the prizes. And so you really have to position yourself on that leaderboard as best you can. You really have to put in as many points on the board as you can. Otherwise, the opportunities start to wilt away. And of course, then tomorrow we only have 4 games left to make anything happen. First coming in, therefore, exists. So Unique already picking up a player from the Magician, stunting their ability in this game right off the bat. So a couple of early picks for this team. Going to get things started, but ultimately nothing major just yet.
Yeah, and of course, if we have a bit of a look at where the points are, right? So, I mean, ATROX, they've closed the gap between themselves and the players there from Sincerity already. We can see the kill feed, the Aphelion Apex are now having quite a bit of a swing at them, as Muffin is now the last remaining hopeful alongside Yaya. But Yaya has been knocked right on down, and Muffin is now forced to try and survive all alone up here in it towards Lipovka. We can see Cole, Dekage, and Jasser now looking to move in. And with that, the finishing blow, Atrox gets sent right on away. But what I was trying to say is, if Atrox bring in one strong performance, that could move them up, not just a little bit, but to the top of the second page. Right? Now, if they come back with the same kind of momentum tomorrow, they could very well advance themselves all the way up onto that first page. So that is definitely something that is doable. And so that's why I say it all comes down to what kind of mentality these teams come in with when they approach these matches and where they are satisfied with being on the overall leaderboard. Because we've seen a team like Infinity come in and just run away. I mean, they are so far ahead on the leaderboard currently that it is going to be a very comfortable day for them tomorrow where they don't have to worry as much about their performance just yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a world of possibilities awaiting these teams each and every game that they play. And, well, when these teams are dropping things like 30 bombs in a game, the potential is still really out there for things to happen, for things to change. And as you mentioned, some teams are positioned that if they keep the momentum going into tomorrow, they could certainly change the way that they're situated at the moment on that leaderboard. So, yeah, anything's possible still, and we're about to see what is possible here on this map. We've already seen, of course, that zone having dropped up into the north means that all the teams are going to have to start moving in that direction, as one does when that zone starts to close on in. Things are a little bit relaxed here on Erangel, of course, because that first zone is not super scary. Most of the teams are quite A-okay with it. We're actually taking a look at Sincerity, who dropped down onto that military island. They're going to look for a way out, and it looks like that way is currently being blocked by Unique. They decided not to rotate up across the eastern bridge, which is actually open at the moment, but of course there's no way for them to know that. All they know is that there's a potential for a team to be right on top of them on that particular spot. So they've decided to go for the western bridge, and they might just land face first into Unique, depending on how this rotation goes, because it does look like Unique is also trying to make a move up in towards zone.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think that eastern bridge would have been the wiser decision to make, but as you pointed out, they've got no way of really knowing where the opposing teams really are situated. So let's hope maybe it works out for Sincerity, that they would be able to just squeeze in between the players there of Unique and find a good position. Of course, Sorry taking quite a few hits in the process now, just getting knocked right on down at the hand there of Aimbot. So definitely some good plays coming in here from Sincerity, but with that easy, also now gets down. Rogue Baby actually trying to run over Sorry, but unfortunately not really having those angles work out in their favor just yet. But now it is going to be a little bit of an exchange coming in between Unique and Sincerity, as both teams have exchanged a fair amount of knocks either side.
Yeah, Unique wasn't expecting the rotate so late. They were there waiting for something to happen, but when nobody crossed, they started making their way in towards the zone. And then, of course, all of a sudden, Sincerity is just piling across that bridge, and suddenly they have to turn around and take a fight with them. And they found themselves in a little bit of a difficult spot. Easy did get eliminated, but likewise, Unique also finding themselves in a difficult spot. So everyone was trying to get across that line, not expecting the other to come through. And then, of course, they just found themselves face to face, and now trying to take a fight. Of course, the first should come through for Willie, and it does. No problem. They're on towards Exist. That's a nice pickup there for him at least. Sincerity will still have 3 out of their 4 players remaining here. They should be able to get up into zone, no problem. So we've had some scuffles here. We've had one team getting taken out there already, which is a good start. And hopefully, if that ball continues to roll in that direction, then things will go pretty smoothly here in this game.
Yeah, speaking about smoothly, we of course see several teams now starting to converge up in it towards that center zone once again. But again, we have a few teams holding on towards that western side. Rila inside is the Magicians, the players there from Slime 4KT, and of course the team from Zero Tolerance Skills still having to get not only out of the blue, but also into a good setup within the zone. The players there from Infinity are now starting to move a little bit further forward. As we can see, the shots now starting to fly up in towards that mansion region as Lag, G3, and so many other teams find themselves in very close proximity.
Yeah, they certainly do find themselves quite up close and personal, and potentially could be finding themselves in a fight for quite some time, depending on where the zone is about to drop, which we're about to find out to see if it's going to be even more difficult. Nope, it's going to be an easy one right on top of them. So only a few rotates from the most extreme teams there. For instance, the Magicians all the way out, just coming from the Quarry side of the map. So they're going to have a little bit of a rotate up ahead of them. The rest of the teams that are already inside the zone will be quite happy to just stay where they are and continue to put the pressure on one another. You can see, as you mentioned, the likes of G3 in the middle of that scuffle. And that will only continue to be the case for as long as the zone is in that position. Only once it moves up or down will things start to change. Otherwise, the teams are just happy to centralize and get comfortable in their respective compounds and defensible locations. You can see G3 right up here on your screen now. They're just chilling in this compound. Quite okay with this position for now. I'm really interested to see if they're going to be able to keep the momentum going from last game, or if they're going to drop the ball just a little bit here in this one, because their performance on Miramar, it was something that I could kind of see, and we could kind of see because of their history on the map, and we know they're quite capable with it. But here in Erangel, have they really given us anything to go off of to understand whether they can actually make something happen here?
Well, not 100% just yet. It is sometimes a little bit of a rocky start to the game. It all depends on kind of where that zone goes, where the teams decided to drop, and how those rotations then come together as they, of course, start heading their way into the zone. There's so many factors to take into consideration for these players, but of course, so far it does seem like everything is working out fine for the time being. G3 still alive in a secure compound. No one really around them to threaten that position just yet. But of course, now we see the players here from Sidemen. They are looking to pick off a few potential sprays as the players here from Sincerity now start advancing their own way a little bit further forward. Aimbot, of course, pulling up on the hill. Now, this is quite an interesting compound actually to be in, as we've seen a lot of fights breaking out in this region, and it has several times swung both ways. It has gone in favor of the team holding the compound. It has also gone in favor of the team position on the hill. And now we look to see which way it's going to swing this time around. Is it going to work in favor of the players here of Sidemen, or could we potentially see Sincerity step up and claim the victory in this exchange?
Yeah, it would be quite interesting to find out, especially because, we're looking for the Sidemen to make something happen here. We've been waiting for the uptick on their part, and it looks like they're going to start out pretty well, really getting eliminated or at least knocked over there, as Sleepy does find a few good angles in towards him and some shots right into him. Of course, Aimbot slowly creeping up to try and get in position for the res, but they have to make sure they don't get caught out by this angle. Smoke's getting popped, but it's not covering the cross just yet, so have to be careful about this, because Sleepy is definitely watching, and he's popping up every now and then to make sure that they don't get across. Can't lose this player, otherwise they're going to find themselves in 2 players down, and of course only 2 players remaining, which is definitely not the position you want to be in. Rogue sneaking across there just in the nick of time and getting over in towards Willie should make things a little bit easier for them, as Sleepy hasn't managed to find any more picks in that particular direction, so they should be able to get that res through and bolster their numbers once again and continue to take that fight against the Sidemen. For now, though, that blue zone, of course, closing up. Everyone is already centralized in towards the zone, and that zone now shifting towards the west, or the east, sorry, is going to make things a little bit difficult for a lot of the teams that are now positioned on the western side there.
Well, I'd like to escalate it from a little bit difficult to quite challenging. Yes, because we've got a huge concentration of teams still left in this game, but also a large portion of them are positioned over on towards that western side. As now we see that that migration coming through as the teams are all starting to make their way up in towards zone. But what's interesting is we actually have natural killers and the players there from Rila and Side are actually looking to rotate along that southern edge. So that could mean that they are heading for the eastern side of the current zone. Of course, the players here from G3 still holding on to their compound. No need for them to move up just yet, but we've only got a few seconds left on the clock before the blue zone starts closing up once again. And we're going to have yet another shift coming through.
Yeah, we certainly will do, and it's exactly as you say, that western side of the zone looking absolutely crammed with teams, and it's only going to get worse as these teams start to pile in it to try and get into safety in that zone. You can see pretty much all the teams are highly concentrated on that side. It's only the Rila insiders that are really making the effort to go all the way around to try and get into a position where it's a little bit less occupied at the moment. The rest of the teams trying to figure themselves out and just keep themselves alive, not get into any trouble. But I mean, we know that obviously doesn't last. You know, once that zone closes on in, it becomes a whole lot more chaotic. You're forced to rotate and everything starts to collapse around you, and it really does become how you can manage that situation. And well, as the blue zone is hearkening to come on in, things are not going to get any easier for these teams, and we're still waiting to see who is really going to shine here in the final map of today's games. Who is going to be the one to find that chicken dinner? Are we going to see any 30 bombs? Right now, these teams have had so much time to warm up. They've already played an Erangel game. They've played Sanhok. They've played Miramar. So they've had both extremes, both sides of the coin. And now they're right back here on Erangel for a round 2 for today. And I mean, they're completely prepared for this. It's going to be super difficult to really get past anyone.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about difficult, we see Slime 4KT now on the approach, heading straight towards G3 here. So they've got a very similar kind of idea of as to which compound they would potentially like to move into. So I'm curious to see whether or not Slime is actually going to push up on towards G3. And if they evade G3 for the time being, they are going to be running up right into the players there from Zero Tolerance. We see just positioned slightly behind them. But of course, those rotations continuing to make their way in. And we still sit with 15 teams remaining in our third phase, which is about to be the fourth. The zone, of course, shifting up once again. The teams over on this western side now having to rotate up once again to get those anchor points set up, to get those positions within the zone. And up comes G3, quickly hopping into the vehicles. This could be an opportunity for Slime to maybe get a few stray shots in towards them. But it does seem like they are relatively quick on their feet as the zone has shifted up in towards the north, moving up quite favorably now for Aphelion Apex.
Yeah, it certainly has. That northern shift making it a little bit easier on them to try and pick up some of those rotators, pick up the stragglers, punish them as they start to move on in. Things are going to become even more tough for those teams that try to push past, and you can already see that starting to happen. G3, of course, rolling up into this position are going to be challenging just a little bit. You can see Buden doing a few donuts to just mark his location here. Slime 4KT under some fires. Nico picks up a few bullets and throws them right at him. Things are going to be a little bit tough here for G3 stacked up against this hill. So they pop the smokes, make sure that their rotate is a little bit covered at least, and maybe try and scope out the rest of the situation, because these teams, that pressure is rising. We're already 4 zones in. Sincerity taking a fight with the Rila insiders. That's J Roller putting the hits in. And of course, you can see the teams trying to get into that zone. Things are about to close up a whole lot more. You can see they still have a little bit of space to position, but things from here on out are going to start to close up considerably.
Ooh, I do see the players there from Sincerity coming in with a very split rotate. With that, of course, They rotate right up alongside the players there from Sidemen and get sent right away. But of course, over on the western side, there's going to be Influence, Rage, and Slime 4KT fighting for control of the West. Up comes CE Sports as well, contributing their own part to the engagement. But who's going to be the team to survive here as we see quite a bit of a back and forth coming in between all three teams here. And Slime 4KT caught in the middle. So if CE Sports and the players here from Influence Rage just utilize what they have, they could potentially put an end to the hopes and dreams here of Slime 4KT. Already a big barrage of those utilities getting sent out, trying to pick up the damage. Influence just trying to play this one rather as cautiously as they can.
Yeah, they certainly do. Slime 4KT laying in wait on the other side of the road. The smokes are getting popped. Mercury very cautious right up here. He knows aim is just on the other side of that road. Silly, of course, hopping into the buggy, and they're just going to make their way through and try and escape the situation. It looks like they've been mostly successful. Lots of shots going in their direction, but they are able to just slide on by. 4KT now going in for the hunt. It looks like they're ready to try and hunt them down. And Aphelion Apex, of course, being in the middle here with the zone in their favor, are also trying to put a few shots in as the rotate does come through. But it looks like they're able to slip past as well and just try and get into safety, although it looks like they're headed straight for G3, which is going to be a little bit of a difficult prospect, stacked up right against the exact same hill as them. Oh, it's not going to be an easy time for them whatsoever. You can already see the shots just flying in from all over, and in fact, it's not even G3 that they had to be worried about. It was actually all the teams of the third parties right across from the other side.
Yeah, Infinity just capitalizing on their position in these compounds here in Mansion. But of course, we are looking to see where this next phase is going to be shifting towards. The players there from Aphelion Apex just in such a beautiful position where they are able to capitalize on the high ground advantage they have at their disposal. And with the zone now shifting up once again, they can remain in that position, continuing to just leverage that in their favor. And this is where things are going to get pretty hot and heated over in towards Mansion, as the Magicians, the Natural Killers, and of course the players here from Infinity will have to decide on which way around they're going to try and rotate back up in towards the zone.
Yeah, this compound is looking like quite a contentious position. G3 is still holding up against the side here. Buden with that DP, just trying to land those shots long range as the rotates come through. They've got a great spot in zone. Aphelion Apex as well. Haven't been able to push up further to the side of the cliff. Obviously not wanting to expose themselves there, which is probably a good decision. The Magicians do have to get their way on out, as well as the Natural Killers and Infinity have to move into the next zone as the next one is about to shift on up. The Blues about to come in, and there comes some nice eliminations for Aphelion Apex, putting the hits across in towards CE Esports, who've suffered some heavy losses here. Now trying to pick up the pieces. Wizard Zin and Kira right up towards the north have to make some tough decisions here as the rest of the team start to rotate on into the empty space in the south of that zone. G3 might just be looking to engage them there.
Well, definitely could be an option for them, of course. The zone now sitting once more over on towards that western side is going to make it a little bit easier for the teams that are already situated there. And this could be G3 now just capitalizing on this hillside, but they still need to deal with the potential threat coming in from the Aphelion Apex as Slime 4KT try to push on in. The Natural Killers advance forward. They come under fire. It is going to be an absolute bloodbath as they fight to be the king of this hill. And man, Patchy, look at this.
Yeah, it is the King of the Hill fight, but at the moment, maybe it's a little bit of a deceptive fight because G3 have spotted this one out long ago. They came right up against the side of the cliff face, and they've just been quite happy to hold this position. And they're just going to let everyone on the top of this hill fight it out. You can see Bearded taking some really great shots. He's been absolutely on point when it comes to keeping a lookout on the horizon and on the surrounding area to make sure they don't get third-partied from behind. In the meantime, the scuffle on top of the hill is going absolutely nuts. The Natural Killer's losing a lot of HP. There's Slime 4KT advancing from the one side, and of course, as we shift the angle here, we can see CE Esports struggling on the other side, trying to crawl in towards the zone. Infinity right up here on this hill is definitely, well, on the other side of the hill, should I say, is definitely also in a pretty decent spot here. They don't want to push on up too far because, of course, all the teams on top of that hill are still slugging it out and determining who is going to be that king of the hill.
But the pressure now lies on G3. They cannot stay on this side of the hill for much longer. Seeing that the zone has shifted up and the other teams positioned elsewhere in the zone could have a very clear line of sight right on towards them. Once this fighting up on this hill kind of comes to an end, G3 will have to already have that plan B, plan C set up and already have it kind of in motion. As we can see, the players from CE Sports, they are positioned all the way down to that far southeastern side. But of course, they can start to look on towards G3 as G3 now turn their attention on towards players here from Infinity. Already 2 knocks coming in, 1 confirmed getting sent on through. Senor now trying to hold on. Lord and Dizzy just trying to see if they can ride out the storm. Of course, Aphelion Apex are going to be advancing forward right on towards Natural Killers, but Dizzy sends one over, finds a beautiful knock on towards Flacco and Six God. Meanwhile, Slime 4KT just holding on to a very centralized position, but the fighting continuing up on the hill as the heads continue to fly. The Natural Killers now coming under quite a bit of pressure as the team there from Aphelion Apex look to push forward, and of course Influence, as well as, no, not Influence, rather the players here from the side of Infinity move in and find the finishing blows onto G3, sending them right back into the lobby. This is now the opportunity for Zero Tolerance to come pushing forward. The fighting is not going to be ending anytime soon.
Oh man, what a misstep there from G3. It looked like they were in a fantastic position to take that fight, but they bit off more than they could chew, and Infinity came back with an absolute vengeance, and it was swift and it was unstoppable there. G3 just fell in front of them at that point. Infinity just claiming that victory over them right there. And of course, this is not a team that you can mess with. Infinity AF have proved time and again that these guys know what is happening and they can absolutely take a fight. You just gotta throw the respect over in their direction. I saw the moment where G3 decided, hold on, this is a team right here. Let's see if we can take the fight. And they started pushing forward. They were really, really confident in what was going to happen, and they absolutely got surprised by the result of that fight. And Natural Killers still alive here with Aphelion Apex. This fight has not yet been resolved in this particular house situation here at the top of the hill. So the King of the Hill hasn't even been decided yet. The fight is ongoing, but no one really wants to summon up the courage to actually fully commit to that. Infinity, of course, down on the side, occupying the position where G3 was, and they're just trying to take the fight with BBC, who find themselves quite strong here in terms of the numbers. These guys still got all 4 of their players on the board at the moment. Slime 4KT in a similar position, although they've got a 2-2 split going on both sides. So yeah, it looks like BBC and Slime 4KT actually have a little bit of an upper hand in terms of numbers, but when it comes to Infinity, that's not necessarily all you need.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. But of course, BBC is still going to be quite a bit of a threat, especially as they have those numbers remaining and a very favorable position all the way down in towards the south. Of course, players here from Aphelion Apex are going to be looking to capitalize on their own position up on the hill, but they have not much of a choice as they do now need to start moving into the safety of the zone. As we can see, the zone shifting right up into the center position. Slime 4KT already beautifully set up, but whoever ventures into center zone could be the next team to get sent back into the lobby, as the pressure is going to be on Nova, of course, striking down on towards Jassa. Up comes Kage. He does not survive as he gets sent away. The Natural Killers managing to hold on with only 2. It is now up to Rashi and Nova to try and make this final play happen for them. Of course, Infinity now moving into the position where we saw G3 only a few moments ago, but of course the zone is about to start closing up, and this is where the pressure is going to be another big situation. A Zero Tolerance also now gets sent away.
Yeah, and now, of course, BBC with a great spread out on the one side have a good overview of what's happening out in the front, and they can start to move forward into the zone as the rest of the teams try and slug it out. The Natural Killers and Aphelion Apex fight took so long that they find themselves in a bit of a tough spot. Then Nova trying to push forward, but Roshi is probably going to get caught out in the blue zone, and indeed, there he goes out into the lobby. Nova, the last one left for Natural Killers, but he's about to get pushed by Slime 4KT, and they come up with all of their numbers. 2 players on the one side, and a little bit of damage done by that Molotov, but ultimately Slime 4KT will be able to claim that fight. A little bit of damage going into Aima, and in fact, he's going to get thirsted immediately. The punish comes through from BBC. As I mentioned, they've got a great overview, and they pick that one up very quickly. Slime 4KT reeling just a little bit and trying to recuperate on their situation, so they've been shaved down a little bit, and BBC absolutely have the numbers advantage right now. This team, I've been saying it, they're fantastic. They've been doing really, really well, and now they might just be taking a chicken dinner for themselves.
Yeah, they could very well be doing exactly that. It could be their second chicken on board, but of course now all these teams that we see left here are teams that have those chickens. But who's going to be the next team to claim it? Of course, the shots continue to fly in as Infinity are now down to 2. Oh, BBC also down to 2. Slime 4KT still holding on with 3 players up and able, but the health bars are not looking all too great. Only a few good placed angles, good placed shots could be the end of any of these teams. So it is going to come down to a very bloody fight. Of course, the zone now sitting up in favor of what seems to be the position towards Slime 4KT. Of course, the Molly is going to be the end of one of the players there from the side of BBC, but it is now down to Nihal and Falak to hold on. Of course, Infinity trying to utilize as much of the cover as they can. But in fact, we see Zoc actually moving on to a little bit of that high ground just to try and see if they can spot any potential angles down below. A few seconds remain on the clock before the zone starts closing in. And this is going to be where it's going to be that final fight to see who will be the team to take this last chicken of the day.
Yeah, and with that zone shift up in favor of 4KT, I actually think this is done and dusted. Both Infinity and BBC have such a tough position to try and push up into. I don't know if they can make it. At this stage, Slime 4KT should just be able to squeak it out. Although I say that, a nade immediately comes in and takes Fex out, and that's going to send 4KT into recovery mode to try and just keep themselves alive, and that's going to allow BBC and Infinity to push a little bit further forward, which is going to be useful. Senor actually getting a little bit of a confidence booster. He's going to go all the way up to the side and try and put a bit more pressure on. He wants to catch them off guard. He wants to give them a little bit to work with because he knows how doomed they were if they just sat there. He's going to try to be proactive. Senor goes all the way up towards the top on the hillock. He goes to the top, running behind that box. He's actually going to get some extra loot there. BBC not able to find the cover for Luck. Gets taken down, and now Senor trying to flank them from the side, but instantly getting taken down. 4KT too quick on the trigger. The aim is good, and that might just spell the end for both Infinity and BBC. 4KT in such a great position. The zone shift in their favor was absolutely what they needed to just hold out and make this one a clean game, and there it is. The confirms coming through one by one. BBC gets taken down, and now Lord is soon to follow, and there it is. 4KT will secure that chicken.
Wow, that was down to the bone. Slime 4KT, Infinity, and BBC fighting till the very, very end. But of course, Slime 4KT finishing off with a beautiful victory. 13 kills on board. Infinity coming in with 7 kills. And of course, the players there from BBC securing also a nice 7 kills for themselves. So what a way to close out this last match of the day.
So, in the comment section, everybody kept saying Slime 4KT was going to come through clutch at the end and then go clutch tomorrow. They came in definitely with a clutch win today. That was totally awesome, amazing gameplay. I was scared for a second. I thought they were going to be taken out by those nades, but BBC didn't have what it takes, and 4KT come away with the winner chicken dinner. Very soon, we're going to be taking a look very quickly at the updated standings, and then we're going to be taking at the MVP. But very quickly, Patchy, what was your highlight of that final gameplay?
So I think actually the holdout by G3 on the side of the cliff face there was a pretty good one. Because that spot that they were in was actually a little bit of a daring spot to use. We actually saw another team try and take the same spot, and they got instantly taken out. Whereas G3 was actually able to maintain their position there for quite some time, which is considerable. And I mentioned Buren, I think, there with the DP, was doing some really good job of making sure that those third parties were kept at bay and not really too confident to peek out against them. So they actually managed that quite well, even though they did eventually get taken out.
Yeah, and as we look at it, DK, tell us what we're looking at these numbers.
Well, an exceptional performance coming in there from Slime 4KT, the players there from Infinity securing themselves a lovely 19-pointer. BBC coming in with 17 points on board. Natural Killer stepping up, showing us who they are, bringing in a lovely 12 points. Of course, the same coming in for the players there from Aphelion. Apex finishing strong on those double digits. And then, of course, a really nice performance as well coming in from the players there of G3, as well as Esports, finishing with some decent numbers. Of course, 0 tolerance, getting strong placement, 1 kill. And as we move on to the second page, this is where we still see a nice concentration of kills being dealt. Lag Esports coming in with some good numbers. The same, of course, for the players there of Rila Insiders, as well as the Sidemen Team Unique. But it has been a pretty tough match for the Magicians, the players here from Influence Rage Africa, as well as Sincerity and ATROX. Again, they've got points on board, and that is what we want to be seeing, is that consistency. Points, 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 points. That is how teams advance their way up the leaderboard.
Yes, that's how they advance up the leaderboard. Let's take a very quick look at the MVP of the day, who is Noisy from Infinity. 5 kills, 590 damage, survival time of 27 minutes and 6 seconds. And what all this means on the overall leaderboard is coming up right now, and we can see who is in pole position and ready to take it through with the finals. Patchy, come through, tell us what's popping.
Yeah, so the teams that have poised themselves in the absolute best spot to move forward into tomorrow, of course, the Infinity AF has just been doing it time and again. They've managed to secure 2 winner-winner chicken dinners in the final series so far, which has been absolutely great for them. 124 points there. Lag Esports, again, they've been doing really, really well. They started out strong and they've managed to keep putting points on the board regardless of whether they actually finish in a great spot or not, which has kept them going and is keeping them at the top of the log at the moment in second place. Their BBC maintaining their spot up in third, which is phenomenal to see. 84 points for them. Slime4KT moved their way up into fourth position, which is certainly where we expect more to find them. Rila Insiders up there in fifth and Team Unique in sixth. That's another team that has been maintaining their position here on this first page. G3 Tampa has managed to stay up here as well, move themselves into seventh position. Influence Rage to close out the first page in eighth spot with 55 points. Keep that in mind as we move on to the next slot, because Sidemen, they're right up there with 53 points, so just behind that slot there in position at number 9. In number 10, we have the Magicians with 49, followed closely by the Natural Killers in 48. The Aphelion Apex team have 47 points as well in 12th position. Zero Tolerance with 37, Esports with 32, Sincerity with 19, and ATROX there with a nice 17 points. And all I want to say about those particular numbers right there is that it's actually almost exactly what we sort of predicted right in the beginning of the Grand Finals series. One of the things that I said was we might just be seeing a finals day where all of the teams are really, really close in points. And that's exactly what we've got. Now, there is a little bit of a gap towards the top, and that's thanks to some really fancy moves there by the Infinity AF. They've, of course, broken that 120-point mark already, which is impressive. No one else has managed to break 100 just yet. But other than that, the score is actually relatively close between the sort of bottom half of the first page and the top half of the second. So there's a lot of potential for the finals, and pretty much anything could happen for those teams. It's not done and dusted just yet for most of them.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Day 2 done at Umzansi Esports League. Season 4 brought to you by Nordwind Gaming Africa. My name is Dr. C, saying a big thank you to DK and Patchy for doing such an amazing job. Tomorrow is finals day. You don't want to miss it. Action on PUBG Mobile. It is the best in African esports, brought to you by none other than Nordwind Gaming Africa. We will see you tomorrow.